Well, hello. Here we are, and happy Halloween to everyone watching. I'm here with a fun little game I found. Very last minute because Halloween snuck up on me, but we are here today for a little new game. Something that shouldn't take very long. I looked and saw that it wasn't very long. But it should be fun nonetheless. We ourselves a little visual novel here for the spooky season of It Gets So Lonely Here. So yeah, found this last night, trying to find something spooky to do last minute, and I ended up finding this. So, let's sit back and enjoy. Let's see what it has in store for us. You're running through a forest. It's late at night and the sky's black as pitch. There's nothing to light your way, save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to the foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you're going. Even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour, however, with the light of the sun to aid you, it'll be of little use. You do not know where you're going. You have no map, no route, no plan. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. You have no choice, therefore, but to keep going, on and on and on, for your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You have no idea how long you've been running. Time has begun to blend together, and has lost all meaning. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you don't have the luxury to pause and examine what has happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears, and sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forwards with a shocked gasp. You're free, but at what cost? I'm lower that a bit. Your skirt's been irrecoverably damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again soon, she'll catch you. And then your life will be over. You don't know if she's still following you, but you don't want to risk looking over your shoulder. If you were to see her, silhouetted beneath a tree, looking at you with that sickly sweet smile which once ensnared you, you'd lose what little nerve you possess. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins. Then you would crumble, you'd fall, but you would not hit the ground. She'll be there to catch you. Did she not promise, when you made that contract, that you would never be alone? You'd like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it's too late for that. It's far too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run, while icy fog swirls about your feet. And this cold nut sap the heat from your body, and you shudder from it. It feels as though you're drowning. It feels as though you're being buried alive. Your knees and shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. You can't endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and run and you run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths that split off in the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. You can't exactly double back on yourself, though. Not when you have so much effort. Not when you put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you'll forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Didn't let me save before the option. Oh well. Yes, here we go. This shouldn't... The shore, the village, or the castle? I'm excited for this. This is gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to this. How about... we'll probably end up going through all these routes over the course of the day. The game's not that long, but... Let's go to the shore first. That sounds interesting. So you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What would you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are any number of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope for your sake that you have learned how to swim. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. Follow the path which leads you to the shore, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs, which feel ready to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. You're a little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long and your feet are so very numb. You feel like a great lumbering thing. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope as you continue to run that you'll find a means to escape your current predicament by the shore. Don't know what awaits you, but you have visions of a harbor extending out to the horizon, cradling a fleet of white-sailed fishing vessels. Sure, that there will be a kindly fisherman who will be willing to take you far, far away on his boat, to a place where you presumably will not be able to find you. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly fisherman, a face you have lifted from the fairy tales you've read in an abundance as a small child. He'll have thick, bushy eyebrows and a dark brown beard, streaked through with gray. He'll look intimidating at a glance, but he'll be fiercely protective of you, just like a father. You don't know what fathers are supposed to be like. Damn. I didn't think... True game, that's very true. You're only imagining. It is your imagination, however, which grants you the strength needed to keep going. Huh, not a bad coast. It's very pretty. Gotta say, I do like this little art style they have going on. It's very nice to look at. You run to the shore. Take some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? Cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The force is behind you now, at least, and all that awful nightmares that lurks within it. It's still cold, though, and still foggy. It's still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon clearly from how it hangs above your head, round as any pearl, or orb, or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the vertiginous cliffs, which plummet sharply downward to an array of sharp, spiky rocks below. You felt, upon escaping the woods, a degree of hope, but the sight of these weather-blasted cliffs gives you pause. You inhale, then you frown. Now, what are you going to do? You don't think this plan of yours through very well. Not that you have much in the way of a plan in the first place. There's little in the way of civilization here. Cliffs are far from the village. How far, you do not know. You cannot see any houses. Where exactly will you rest your weary head, and what of your weary legs? Fitfully, you look around. There's nobody to your east, nor is there anybody to your west. There's no point in looking south. That's the way you came. And when you look north, the world falls away from you. This music is very pretty. Really getting me into the atmosphere of it. Cliffs are too steep to scale, and it's too dark. Naturally, there's no soul here to help you. You're on your own. You feel so overwhelmed, you could very well cry. Do not cry, however. You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into this mess. Now you need to get yourself out of it. But it is with this thought in mind that you inhale a lungful of salty oceanic air. Then, you begin your exploration in earnest. You keep away from the edge of the cliffs, afraid that you might slip and take a sudden unfortunate tumble in the abyss below. You're not as attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. Still, you care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. You glance this way and that, despairing the tall grass beneath your shoes, as you search for a place of shelter. Sure, there must be somewhere. You cannot see any likely-looking settlements, but... What is that, over yonder? Could that be a roof? You hurry onwards, hope budding anew in your heart, until along last you reach your destination. There is a house, after all, out here in the wilds, though it doesn't at a glance look very welcoming. You're very pretty music, but a little loud, very little loud. The solitary house that you discovered, not so far from the cliffs, is rather unremarkable. It is so small and squat, you cannot imagine it contains within it more than one floor. You cannot even imagine that it contains much more than one room. Though it is dark, it is not dark enough to mask that of the cottage. That the cottage has something of a slant to it. It is leaning listlessly onto one side, like a drunken sailor. The thatched roof, meanwhile, which tops this dwelling, has certainly seen better days. There's a hole in the thatch. There are several holes, in fact, and parts of it look particularly bare, almost bald. This is rather unconcerning. Should it rain, you will not be properly protected from the elements. Can you really stay the night in such a place? You have some misgivings. But do your misgivings matter, really, when there is nowhere else to go? It's not as though you have any other options. It is with a sense of defeat, therefore, that you approach the cottage, which sticks out of the earth like a tombstone. Part of you wants to turn back, but you know that would be foolish. The windows of the cottage are dark, but that does not necessarily mean it is empty. It's rather late at night, after all. Whoever lives here, if indeed anybody does live here, might be asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of this cottage will appreciate being roused so very late at night. You cannot let yourself worry too much about these small details, however. Otherwise, you'll never get anywhere. You swallow. The taste of salty breeze is pungent back in the back of your nostrils. Then, you wrap your knuckles on your right fist right on the door. You rap quietly at first, but do not wish to hear any resultant shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you don't use enough strength. Emboldened, you rap your knuckles on the door for a second time, more loudly this time. You wait a few moments, but you still cannot hear anything. Perhaps it's because you're not unoccupied after all. Knock for a third time, then wait. Oops. I could use the scroll wheel a bit. And not quite after all. Knock a third time, and then wait. The third time is, as I say, the charm. But for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say that you didn't try. More intrigued now than anxious, your fingers find the handle of the door. You pull it down, and to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back, and as if by magic. It feels almost as if this was preordained. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. It's hard to see, given the lantern lateness of the hour. The cottage's interior is about as inspiring as its exterior. Which is to say, not very. It's every bit as small and cramped as you fancied when you observed it from the outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, a wood fire which has since been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. Your search is unsuccessful, however, when it comes to trying to locate other humans. You cannot find another soul. Sure, that is to your benefit, though. If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make yourself at home. Or at home as at home as one can be, I suppose, in a small, cramped cottage such as this, with holes in the roof. You close the door behind you, and approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. The tiredness that assails your limbs is absolute, so intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. You settle down upon the straw pallet, yawning as you do. It's not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your aches and pains. Lying down even on the uncomfortable makeshift bed such as this one is much better than standing. It's far, far better than running. Your eyes fall shut, your lashes melt together, and soothed by the sound of the wind and the distant rolling of the waves, you fall asleep. Then you begin to dream. It's not uncommon, of course, to dream. The best and worst of us do it, from queens on the castles to peasants sleeping in the straw. Why, who is to say that all of you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? Would that make your nighttime fancies, then, a dream inside a dream? Perhaps our dreams are empty, hollow things stacked inside one another, like little wooden dolls. Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Your dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications, as dreams sometimes are, fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are a rather more pernicious sort. In your dreams, you are at the conservatoire, with your red hair tied back into two prim, proper braids. You're walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed so as to not look at the faces of your passing classmates. You don't want to meet their eyes. These girls, with their sensible braids and their sensible shoes, are merciless. You hunch your shoulders together in this dream of yours, so as to not draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You stumble, clumsy thing you are, and fall, and just like that, all eyes are upon you. They're staring at you. They're laughing at you. You lay there on the ground, by the fountain, your books are scattered, and your skirt is in a woeful state of disarray. Your knees hurt. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and, as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears being in your eyes, at a girl taller than you, and prettier, much more refined. She extends her hands towards you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? Hesitantly, you reach out to accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nose dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you to your feet. Your legs feel weak from the fall, your knees still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you're not afforded much an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. She's laughing at you. Then she's pushing you. The sounds of the fountain and the running water which drums against the basin is all of a sudden very loud. It's overwhelming. It surrounds you. Then it engulfs you. It's as cold as ice and you cannot breathe. The rushing of the water continues, echoing your eardrums over and over, and then... No. You don't want to remember this. What good will it do? It is in the past, where the past ought to remain. You're never going back, not even in your dreams. It is this determination which forces you back to the world of the waking with a start. You gasp like a fish and sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. You feel wearied from the lack of sleep and, with half-lidded eyes, you glance about. It's still dark inside your cottage, the sky visible from beyond the window splashed still with stars. How long were you asleep? You're not sure. Your dreams are so very detailed, it really did feel like that you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste the rank, fetid water in your mouth. Tentatively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. So vivid was your dream, you half expected to find that your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are in fact perfectly dry. Well, now what are you to do? Will you go back to sleep? It sounds like the best option available to you. You're very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought, all of a sudden for sleep. Do you not think you could bear it? On unsteady legs, you rise to your feet and stand by the window. You look out to the starry sky and the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. You can hear the wind outdoors, howling like an injured animal, and more softly the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? Why, it's almost like singing. The voice is far enough away that you cannot pick out any individual words, nor even the individual syllables, but there is a haunting quality to it all. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite a pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy, one which stirs your heart. Curiosity takes its root inside you, as it did during your fateful day you found that book in the library. Logically, you know you should not go outdoors to seek the source of the singing, but emotionally, that is another matter altogether. You really should have learnt your lesson by now. You should have known better than to go sticking your nose into business which does not concern you. But naughty little girls such as you never do learn. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in a dream, then reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed by the doorway, and all of it bathed in the moonlight. You thought it was cold inside the old cottage, but it's colder still now the door is open. An unpleasant wind rushes forth to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold and inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into fists at your sides. Then you step out into the unknown. You canvass the cliff face, led by nothing more than that illustrious singing. That's so haunting and ethereal in this voice, as it hangs on the breeze, it'll be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You kept walking into the night, until you reached the very edge of the cliffs, where you dropped downwards into empty air. You got to not go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You cannot see it, you can still hear it echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, then out to the oceans, which are breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. Then, you take a step towards the cliff. Oh boy. Are we being led away by a siren, not a mermaid? These cliffs are steep, and the rocks below them are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness, their tips jagged like the teeth of a hungry predator. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair, and you shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much weight in purchase, particularly not when the cliffs are so steep. Clinging to the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to ease yourself down onto the shore, in one piece preferably. The wind is so powerful, it feels as though there is something deliberately malicious to it. You wonder during your descent if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, if that's what it wants, then you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. You continue to climb. How long have you been at it now? Until at long last your feet meet the shoreline below. You've made it, and you did not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes, after gripping those rocks. You might have a few cuts, but your wounds are a shallow and superficial sort. Things could have been worse. You flex your fingers, they feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but at the very least you can still feel discomfort. At least it is still attached to your bones, where it ought to be. Your vital organs congealed within your hollow cavity of your body. You got to be thankful for that. A lot to be thankful for. This night has, by and large, been quite successful. There are no longer any obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find them. You set off down the shore, on the hunt of the singing voice which has captivated you so. You sidestep sharp, jagged rocks which jet out from the sand like teeth. The rush cannot be circumvented. Meanwhile, you clamber over. All the while, the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. It provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to your exploration, one which further adds to the surreality of your moonlit stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The ocean that you have seen in your library books were all blue and as sapphires, but this ocean is different. It's so late at night it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper and much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you, but you try to quash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. Well, here we are. You round a corner, your feet unsteady in their sensible brown shoes, and then, at long last, you see her. Here we are. An actual mermaid. There's a woman sitting upon a rock out in the ocean. The woman's eyes are closed and her lips are parted. Her expression's soulful. She is singing. Her hair, which is fair, flutters around her face like a shroud, which adds to her otherworldly aura. Her eyes might be closed, but her lashes are long and luxuriant like a doll's. Her lips, meanwhile, which are parted in song, are soft like the freshly plucked petals of a flower. Her face is perfect, and as are her proportions. Her neck is tall and slender, like the stem of a flower. As for the lower half of her body, meanwhile, well, it's nothing like anything you've ever seen before. It is here, and here alone, that the woman betrays your narrow human definition of beauty, and her legs are non-existent. Rather than two awkward appendages, the woman has instead the sleek, shimmering tail of a fish. Is she not, then, a human? She cannot be, not with a tail like that. This unusual sight makes you gasp, and quite audibly at that. You don't mean to be rude, but you cannot help yourself. Humans react poorly to things they do not understand. At least you do not scream, that would be even ruder. Oh my. You meant to observe the mermaid for a distance, but it will appear that your shocked gasp was loud enough to attract her attention. The fish-shell vision sits sitting upon the rocks looking at you. Her gaze is so piercing, it feels that almost she is looking through you. Your heart seems to stop inside your chest as if by some manner or magical spell. You thought the mermaid was pretty at first when you observed her, sitting on the outcrop of rock, her face turned in profile. Now she's looking at you, however, and you can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty, she is beautiful, so much so that it's almost unnerving. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply far too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination? But no, she is none of those things. Her tail might be an impossible thing, but its scales look slick and wet, regardless of like those of any fish one might find at a market. These scales are iridescent, and bathed beneath the light of the moon, they seem to almost glow. The sight of her rather takes your breath away. You look at the mermaid. She looks back at you. She is very pretty, I'll give her that. Especially for a mermaid, but... you can never trust a mermaid. You can never trust a mermaid. There can always be a siren, you never know, until it's too late. You prepare yourself, expecting some sort of altercation, but the surprise soon fades from the mermaid's face. Her lips, which were once pursed in a frown, now shift upwards. She's smiling. Then she says in her fine sort of voice, My, Haley, it is good to see this human again, particularly a human girl. I was beginning to fear that your kindness had disappeared, and I was no longer having any left to tell me the world above about the... Tell me of the world above the waters. My, this is quite the effusive greeting. The mermaid's introductory speech is positively brimming with excitement of the sweet girlish variety. She's rather more amicable than the fine polish of her syllables would make one suggest. You might be a well-behaved lady. You might be a well-bred lady yourself, but with an ancient accent to match. But you cannot help but feel overwhelmed. Anxiously, you observe the mermaid and you ask her what she means. What happened? After that, I'm afraid I cannot say. I have been sitting on these rocks and singing for many, many nights, but nobody has ever come to see me. There have been no lovely humans for me to play with. I was beginning to wonder whether your kind had disappeared altogether. I feared some manner of calamity had occurred while I was slumbering beneath the water's surface, and your kind had been eradicated. You shudder, then reassure the mermaid that to the contrary. Do not know about the humans that she used to speak with, but you, at least, have not been eradicated. You're still here. Yes, well, I can see that, the mermaid answered with a light laugh. It really is a relief. My fellow mer people who live beneath the water told me not to worry so, but I could not help myself. I've always been very fond of you humans. It's rather sobering sitting here at night after all on my own. It gets so lonely here. Roll credits. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. Catches your inside of her head like a blur. Have you heard it before? So, dear human, did you say that you were unfamiliar with these parts? Hush, and you examine the mermaid. Though thoughtless though you might be, at times you are not so very self-centered that you cannot detect the note of longing in the mermaid's voice. It is evident as she looks at you that she is hoping for a particular answer to your query. This answer, alas, is not one you can furnish her with. You do not want to lie to her. It is after some hesitation, therefore, that you reaffirm your earlier words, though this time you embellish them. You tell the mermaid that you are a traveler from a far-off land, one which is very dissimilar to this one. It's not a complete fabrication. You tell her that you have only just arrived by the shore, and you are unfamiliar both with the immediate surroundings and those further afield. If there is a village nearby, then you have never set foot in it. You don't know what this village is like, nor how many inhabitants it boasts. You don't know if a calamity, as the mermaid grimly supposed, has struck this land. But if she fears all the humans within the immediate vicinity have been laid low by some mysterious malady, then she needn't worry overly on that score. You are still alive. Are you not, you wonder, enough to satiate her curiosity with the human realm? Yes, that is true. You are here, and I am grateful, naturally, for your company. Although? Wistfully, the mermaid sighs. I was rather hoping you might be able to bring me some news of a nearby village, or of its inhabitants. This makes you wonder, was there a particular person from this village she was close to? So, you're able to work that much out, the mermaid answers with a small smile. You're an intelligent one, aren't you? Your past professors would beg to differ on that score. You were always awful when it came to academics, mathematics in particular. Dang, it probably is me. You can never get your head around all the numbers. Your stern, stony-faced math professor used to despair in you. But she is not here. None of them are here. It's just you now, and the mermaid, and she does not need to know about your just dismal academic record. You allow yourself a small smile, touched by her compliment, and tell her that it was nothing more than a lucky guess. For a guess, it was remarkably accurate. You are quite right. I did have a close friend from the nearby village. She was very dear to me. And certainly you congratulate yourself on this piece of detective work. How very clever you are. There are many humans in this world, of that, I know. The human who spoke with me, however, was special. She was my human. You do not fail to catch the possessive note in the mermaid's voice. And I cherished her dearly. She would come to me on my rock late at night when she was finished with her chores, and we would talk. I asked her a good number of questions about the human realm, and about her customs. I fear my endless inquiries must have been rather tedious, but she was always happy to indulge me. She never once scored me for my ignorance, and neither did she make me feel like a fool. She always made time for me, no matter how many demands she had on her time. She was a farmer's daughter, and she was awfully busy from dawn until dusk, fetching hay and taking the animals out to pasture. She told me of her work, and I marveled at her. Slender though she possessed a truly tremendous amount of strength. I, who have lived in the ocean for all my life, cannot countenance working as hard as she did, but she bore her burdens without complaining. She was not the prettiest human who had walked the earth, but that mattered not to me. Her conversation was engaging, and I knew through our continued encounters that she meant no ill will. She did not even have a single drop of malice in her heart. The wistful manner in which the mermaid speaks of her friend makes you feel, for a few brief moments, the flicker of some ugly primordial emotion. Could it be jealousy? It's painful, isn't it, to hear others wax poetic about those they hold dear, particularly when you yourself have never been regarded in so intimate a manner. You have for many, many years been woefully alone. But you're not alone now. You're with the mermaid, and she's with you. And though she might prefer to be in the company of an industrious farmhand, the farmhand is not here. Where did she go? Oh, if only I knew. She was quite simply disappeared one day, almost as if she had been whisked away by a wicked spirit. That seems like quite the anticlimactic ending for such a close relationship. Did the farmhand not tell her companion beforehand that she might one day disappear? No, she did not. Nothing of the sort happened. It was all very sudden. So you ask, feeling affronted by the mermaid's behalf. Did she not give you any warning? Not a single one. And when you asked, did she disappear? I do not know, in truth. Time is a strange concept to beings such as myself, particularly as it seems to ebb and flow differently both above and below the surface. You humans have a strange compulsion to pin down and place labels upon everything. You have names for your seasons, and for your months, and even for your days of the week. It's all very precise. We merfolk, however, do not bother with such affairs, perhaps because we live so much longer than you humans do. We have no need to obsessively document our days, not when we have so many of them at our disposal. This curious remark catches your attention. How long exactly do mermaids live for? The mermaids do not look much older than you do, but you cannot help but wonder. My, nosy, aren't we? The mermaid asked as she laughs, a soft tinkling noise, like that of a bell, which makes you blush. Were you being nosy? Perhaps you were. You've always had a thirst for knowledge, not for the dry, dusty, academic variety, but of stories people with strange persons. Literature was just the only subject you were ever any good at. Again, this girl is just like me, this protagonist. Wow. Again, it is hard for me to quantify, but to put it in terms a human like you can understand, I suppose we mermaids can live for centuries. Centuries? That's quite a surprise. But perhaps it shouldn't be. You've been subjected to any number of surprises tonight, but there's one more to add to the pile. I've not been waiting quite that long, however, for my friend to return to me. I think it's been a few seasons. I might not sound like much, but never before have I been so aware of the passage of time. I've experienced any number of wants during my life, but I've never wanted anything quite as badly as I want to see her. I wish she'll sit with me, and she'll talk with me just once more time. But perhaps I'm asking for an impossibility. I've been waiting for long enough now to presume that she will not be returning to me. I fear that something must have happened to her, or to her family, or perhaps to the whole village. You can hear the worry throbbing in the mermaid's voice, so potent that for a few moments you swear you can feel the depths of her sorrow within your own breast. Her stance over this human girl is a deep, dark thing, almost fathomless. You cannot let yourself indulge in it too long. Otherwise, you fear you might drown in it. Ruefully, you tell the mermaid once more that you cannot help her. You're only a traveler, after all. What do you know of a single insignificant farmhand in the nearby village? Yes, I thought you might say that. It's quite unfortunate, but... oh well. I ought not to reflect upon all that I'm missing. That'll be churlish of me, and it will not be fair to you either. You do not approach me, I'm sure, with the hope of hearing about all my woes. I should be grateful instead, for all that it is I do have. I still have my long, long life, which stretches before me like a golden cord, and of course, I have you now. Does she? Do I not? I ought to go soon, before my absence is noticed, but will you not come and visit me again tomorrow night? I think I would like that. I've always enjoyed speaking to humans. You make me feel less alone. You can help but feel as the mermaid observes you with these enchanting eyes of hers that she does not truly wish to speak to you for your sake. She wants to use you instead as a substitute for that farmhand that she had been missing so very ardently. The thought stings, though you really ought to be used to it. Still, to be held in lower esteem than a farmhand of all things makes your self-esteem sting. I mean, hey, farmers work hard. They're not so lowly like that. You try not to let your mermaid notice this, though. The woes of your past are not her fault, much as the woes of her past are not yours. It is silly, in any case, to be jealous of a girl who might very well be dead. That is what you tell yourself. It is the only way to prop up your bruised sense of worth. You tell the mermaid, after a pause. Like to see her again. You like that very much. Oh, thank you. I have been feeling very gloomy for quite some time, but seeing you has invigorated me. Finally, it feels as though I can smile again. Did she not smile, you wonder, after her friend disappeared? I do not know. I do not have the heart. Without her, the world seemed very dull and drab. Your company has cheered me up immensely. This is why I like humans so much. You're not callous and unfeeling like the merfolk who live beneath the water surface. You're much kinder than they are. Oh, if only she knew. If the mermaid was aware, I wonder how pretty you are, and how jealous would she still care for you. Well, that is neither here nor there. Back to the cabin, I guess. But if we're gonna be staying here, then we need to get food and water and stuff. You agree to meet the mermaid come sundown the following night. You might make your slow swimming way back up the cliffs. Then to the cottage, you have Purloin as your own. Once indoors, you settle down upon your pallet, and then close your eyes. The sighing of the wind outside and the distant rolling of the waves against the rocks do not disturb you. You feel, after your midnight encounter of a merman quite at ease, perhaps prematurely so. What happened to the icy fear which prompted your frantic flight up through the forest? Where has all that gone? Do you not think you're being a bit complacent? No? Oh well. You will. Very threatening, narrator, very threatening. The following morning, when it arrives, it is cloudy and overcast. It's not a particularly pleasant morning, but at least it is not raining. That is some small consolation. You rise from your straw pallet, stretching, then glance about the interior of the fisherman's cottage. The look is dilapidated last night, when much of it was obscured by the shadows, but looks even more so when subjected to the morning light. The cottage's interior has a disquieting appearance of having been abandoned in a hurry. There is broken pottery strewn upon the ground, and the singular wooden chair, which once must have stood by the singular wooden table, is lying on the floor. The doors of the cupboards, meanwhile, are ajar, shelves within depressingly bare. A cook search reveals a handful of edibles, but there's precious little to be getting on with. If you wish to live here comfortably, you have to look into foraging. You ate very little last night, and your stomach is empty. It was the malcontented rumblings of your stomach, in actual fact, which roused you from your slumber. But your body seemed to be very far away indeed, much like the grey clouds which choke the sky. You're not thinking of your own physical discomforts. You are dwelling, instead, upon the events of the night prior. You cannot help but think of the mermaid. Did you truly meet an aquatic maiden last night during your nightly stroll, when you cannot sleep? It sounds unreal, especially now that the sun has risen into the shadows when the night prior has dispersed. You cannot quite believe it. It must have been a dream. But then, why then can you recall it so very clearly? You help yourself to the scant food and drink available to you, all the while thinking of your next course of action. Now what are you to do? You plan, of course, to return to the shore come nightfall, so that you might once again see the mermaid, but the night will not arrive for quite some time. You need to find some means of keeping yourself occupied until then. The uninspiring interior of the cottage does not furnish you with any particular ideas, so you decide to go for a walk. Your soul is still ache after your excursions last night, but if you go slowly, you ought to be alright. That is what you hope, at least. You do not want to spend much longer than you have to in the fisherman's cottage, no matter how cold it might be outdoors. It's almost as cold as inside as it is out, and in any case, the cottage is far too small. Leave the cottage behind you and set off. You do not know where you are going, but you suppose it does not matter overly much. You do not have any particular destination in mind. Your meandering leads you to the cliffs, which are steep and sharp. You drop to the shore, the drop to the shore is a perilous one, so much so that you have to wonder at how you were able to descend the cliffs the night prior to meet the mermaid. You're rather more determined than you ever realized, though I, of course, could have told you that much. You are surprisingly capricious for such a small, slender human. You walk along the side of the cliffs, keeping a sensible distance away from the drop to the shore. You might have survived last night's excitement unscathed, but you do not fancy trying your luck. It would be so like you, really, to avoid a drop to your death in the darkness, only stumble during the morning light and take on an irreversible tumble. Your fortunes have never been the fairest. Who is this narrator? Why are they so mean to me? Your meandering along the cliffs reveal to you a manner of curious flora. You thought the night prior the cliffs were rather blasted, but you can see now that your assumptions were incorrect. The flowers are here, very warm and bright, like the sun's light during the summertime. Or you think, with a flush of pleasure, the fair hair of a mermaid whom you are certain you spoke to last night. These flowers are so very like her hair that it is uncanny. You step towards the flowers, drawn to them, and sink down to your knees. The tall grass brushes your ankles like a caress, the morning's dew wetting your skirt. Your clothes are getting damp, and so are your legs, but you care not for them this minor discomfort. You have just had an idea. Why not make a gift for your new friend? You are sure that she would appreciate it. Why will she not? She told you in a voice which was steeped in dowler that she had been feeling lonely. You want to see her again, and when you see her next, you like to make her smile. It is with this thought in mind you begin to pick the flowers, which are growing upon the cliffside. These flowers do not have any thorns, and are delicate, and their delicate stems snap easily enough between your fingers. You take care when plucking these flowers to leave a sustainable amount of the stem intact. You'll need some stems so that you might twine the flowers together. I never did learn how to make a flower crown. I could never figure it out. I remember I tried before, but just couldn't quite do it myself. You mean to make for your mermaid a diadem, something she will be able to wear in her hair. This tiara is certain to suit her. She is so pretty, anything will suit her. You continue to work, slow and steadfast, as the weak sun shines. It takes time, but you are eventually able to fashion something you are satisfied with. You only hope the mermaid will feel similarly, if indeed she really does exist. Carefully, you pocket your makeshift diadem, then decide to forage for some food. You discover during your search some fruit trees whose sweet burdens are enough to fortify your spirits. For the present, at least. It's fortunate, really, that you are so excited about your moonlit rendezvous with the mermaid. If you're less focused upon the future and dwelt more in the immediate present, you might have more of an appetite. The emptiness in your stomach assuaged, you return to the cottage, whereat you mean to wait for the setting of the sun. There's very little to do, you soon discover, in the cottage other than checking the cupboards and sweeping the floor. Occupations would both feel depressingly pointless. There are no books to read either, with which you might pass your idle hours. You do, however, busy yourself with trying to light a fire, so that you might ward off the cold. The time is horribly slow in passing, in part because you have precious little to do, but also because you cannot stop thinking about the mermaid. Will she really return to the shore as she said she would? Can you truly trust her? Oh, you hope that you can. If she were not present at your designated meeting place, you think you would die from disappointment. The seconds continue to trickle by, unchecked by any hourglass, and as they do, the sun sinks beneath the horizon. Part of you worries, however, that it might be still too early to search for the mermaid. Will she be there yet? You sit there, your stomach tied up in anxious knots, and as you listen to the wind which buffets your windows, you hear it. The sound is faint, but you recall it well from the night before. There's a single solitary voice outdoors, tempted, tossed amidst the rolling waves. The voice is high, clear, a high, clear one, silvery if needed voices can have colors, like a finely polished dinner plate in the noblewoman's home. The voice belongs, of course, to the mermaid. Who else do you know with a voice as angelic as that? Relief begins to bubble up inside you, a relief so potent that you feel dizzy from it. She did not abandon you after all. Why, you wonder, did you ever think she would? She said that she wanted to see you. Did you think that a mere nicety? Buoyed as if by a gentle breeze, you hurry to the door. With trembling fingers, they are trembling, I presume, from the excitement rather than from fear. You seize the handle, then return it. Then you step out into the dark, inky night. You walk towards the cliffs, as you did the night prior, beneath the cover of the inky blue sky, the wind mourning fitfully with every step you take. Your soul still ached from the expedition the day prior, but you are able to ignore the discomfort. It seems irrelevant, really, when compared to the prospect of once again meeting the mermaid. You have known her only for one night, yet she has come to mean more than your own well-being. You would do anything for the mermaid, as she asked. Well, almost anything. You hurry down the sharp incline of the cliffs to the shore, almost stumbling in your scuffed brown shoes, which really were not built with rock climbing in mind. I feel like we're setting up a lot of sort of flags here. Keep mentioning the cliffside, how hard it is to climb. So frantic are you in your attempts to once again make the mermaid's acquaintance, you very nearly fall. It is a good thing that you still have enough sense about you to regain your footing. Otherwise, the tale would have come to a premature ending. Eventually, you make your way onto the shore, then approach a jagged outcrop of rock where you last saw the mermaid. Like the night prior, the mermaid is perched upon these rocks, her fair hair strewn about her shoulders. When she sees you from across the shore, she ceases her singing, and her eyes light up. Or at least, they seem to. So you have returned to me, my hero, the mermaid says, and then lightly giggles, or perhaps I should say, my heroine. Her praise makes you blush. You do not feel worthy of it. Nobody's ever called you a heroine before. You don't even think of yourself as a heroine. If a story were made about you, you'd rather think that you'd be a supporting character, one without her own voice. You're not interesting enough. God, again, this thing just makes me feel like this talking about myself. The mermaid seems to think that you are, though. She's staring at you delightedly, as though you are the one person in the world she wishes to speak to. The thought makes you tremble, but not as much as the mermaid's gaze. You tell the mermaid that you tell the mermaid that you do not think you are so very brave, but she dismisses your awkward remark with a laugh. I think you are. I saw the way you scaled those cliffs. I thought that was very heroic. Oh, so she saw that, did she? Then did she see how you slipped down the cliffs, grazing your palms in the process, and how you very nearly fell? You have never before been graceful. You've never been the most graceful of girls, but to have your feelings exposed before being as poised and perfect as the mermaid, it stings a little bit. More, in fact, than the resulting grazes on your palms and your clumsiness wrought you. You tell the mermaid that there was nothing very heroic about all of that. You're simply excited, that is all, to see her again. You weren't thinking. Well, that makes it two of us. I was so excited to see you again. She was? Naturally. I had a very good time speaking to you last night. I hoped that we might resume our correspondence. That's why I've come to the rocks for a bit earlier than usual. I was waiting for you. Did you hear my song? Yes, you reply, with a nod of your head. You heard it, all the way in the abandoned cottage. I called out to you. That was a general idea. I was singing for you. She was. I don't think you are worthy of the mermaid's song, but if she does not mind just dedicating her voice to you, then... Well, who else would I dedicate my voice to? There's nobody else to hear me. That is a good point, you suppose. Shyly, you look back at the mermaid. You thank her for your song. It was very beautiful. Then tell her, before you can lose a nerve, that you prepared a present for her, too. Oh, have you really? You have. It's a small thing, nothing more than a silly trinket. But if it will not be too much of an imposition, then... With clumsy fingers, you reach into your pocket. For a few moments, you fret that your near fall down the cliff might have damaged the delicate chain nestled within it, but your worries are in vain. The chain is surprisingly sturdy, given that it was made of only a few red flowers, and held firm against the odds. You handle the chain with great care all the same, however, as you hold it out, presenting it to the mermaid approbation. It was for the mermaid that you fashioned this chain. You thought that it would look nice nestled in her hair. You were pleased with the chain when you first made it, but after looking at the mermaid, you have begun to reconsider. The mermaid's beauty is otherworldly, so much so, it almost hurts to look at her. Your flower crown, by comparison, seems a very meager offering indeed. The longer you hold your gift out, the more unworthy it feels. You have half a mind as seconds elapse to snatch your silly, unholy, unworthy gift back from the mermaid before she can judge you too harshly. But the mermaid's lips curve upwards into a smile, and in a voice so full of gratitude it makes your heart throb, she says, "Oh my, did you make this for me?" Well, yes, you reply, still feeling a little flustered. You saw these flowers earlier when you went for a walk, and they made you think of her. Not, you hasten to add, that you think of her beauty as in comparison to these flowers. They are far inferior when contrasted to her good looks. You simply thought... You are unable to get the rest of the sentence out, however, because the mermaid interrupts you. Not really, but with something resembling compassion. Perhaps she pities you. She also able to hear your voice is trembling. Can she also see the way your hands tremor? Oh dear. Faint heart never won the hand of the fair maiden, you know. What happened to all your confidence? I think that your gift is a wonderful one. I did not all expect it, but it really is pretty. You look at your feet, too shy to meet the mermaid's gaze. Then you say very quietly that you're glad that she thinks so, but she's not in need to spare your ego. You have precious little bit left as it is. The mermaid seems touched by your shyness. Perhaps she likes her prey to be self-conscious because she smiles. But narrator said prey, right? The narrator said prey. I nearly missed that. I'm not simply saying things to spare your ego. I'm not like that. Humans might spout platitudes as they breathe air, but I do not compliment others unless I truly mean it. Is that not the point of speech? To have an honest dialogue with one another? If one party in a conversation is withholding their true intentions, then conversation is impossible. Playing games is a waste of my time, particularly when my time above the surface is so very limited. Oh, you blush at this, more deeply still, and survey the mermaids beneath the full fringe of your eyelashes. Then she really does like it? Didn't I just say that? You humans are all so very funny. With all that you're second guessing, she was like that too in the beginning. My friend. The mermaid's answer is a simple one, but it makes your stomach clench regardless. Ah yes, her friend. How could you have forgotten about her? She used to make me gifts too, you know. Gifts like this one. She picked flowers on the cliffs over there, where I cannot retread. The mermaid gestures one of her hands to the cliffs, which tower above the shore, tall and imposing, as though she might sap the sky above. And she'll fashion them into crowns like this one, and bracelets. I was appreciative of her tokens, though she was very similarly shy when she first presented them to me. She did not seem to think very much of her own handiwork. You and her are remarkably similar, really. There's no guile in the mermaid's voice, but her words have rather taken the wind out of your sails. Of course, the cowherd gave the mermaid gifts. Why would she not? The mermaid is very beautiful. She's so very beautiful, like a tutelary goddess. She seems to invite tribute simply by existing. Were you more religious, or more irreligious, maybe, you might even consider worshipping her. Though, in essence, is not what you are doing with your flower. Is that not what you're doing with your flower crown? How silly of you to think that your idea was an original one. I might be accustomed to gifts, but it has been a long time since any human has bequeathed me with anything. This is a pleasant surprise. I am truly thankful for your kindness, dear one. The mermaid leans forward on your rock, as if to pluck the circlet from your fingers. Her benevolent smile, all the while, is unwavering. And now that I look at your gift more closely, I really think it is of a superior quality to the gift my old friend once gave me. Now this is enough to make you start, if the touch of a mermaid's fingers upon your own was not. Could your own silly gifts really be better than those of those she once accepted? I think so. My friend's trinkets were all rather clumsy in execution, though I cherish them nonetheless. They are very precious to me. They did not last very long, though, not when I took them to my home beneath the ocean. The water soon rendered these fragile links between flowers asunder. Your diadem, however, seems more sturdy, but it is, by the same token, very delicate. You must be very good with your hands. I was just giving it a chance so I can really show you what I mean, how well I can use the hands. You think back briefly of your disastrous... hello, and happy Halloween. Glad you can join us today. I'm having a little Halloween special here. Yeah, I got a little hat on. We're playing a bit of a spooky game here. Hope your day's going well. Hope you have a good Halloween. But yeah, we're having some fun with this little visual novel here that I found. It's called "It Gets So Lonely Here." We're pretty still early on into it. Hope your day's been going well. You think back briefly on your disastrous sewing lessons in the past, of your numerous failed attempts to thread your needle, while the other girls giggled at you, and you blush. You think the mermaid's praise might be a touch too effusive. The story's been very interesting so far. The story basically opens up on us like running away from supposedly someone who's chasing us, and we get the choice of going down 3 different pathways. There's a choice of the shoreline, the village, and a castle. In this path, I chose going to the shoreline, where I met this mermaid here. And we seem to be falling for the mermaid very quickly, but I wouldn't be. Mermaids are very dangerous, though. They could be siren, and you never know. You tell the mermaid as much, but she only laughs. I do not think so. No. The mermaid places the floor trinket upon her head, over her long fair hair, then surveys you in a manner which seems almost coquettish. What do you think? You think the mermaid looks radiant, though that is less because of your gift and more because of her natural looks. You tell the mermaid of this, though not in terms of quite as this glowing, and she giggles. You're selling yourself too short. I think your gift is lovely. Really, the flowers rather match my hair. Yes, you answer with a nod of your head. That's why you picked those flowers. She is all of you have been able to think of. I'm glad that you've been thinking of me. I, in truth, have been thinking of you, though I do not wish to say as much. No? No, it would be embarrassing to confess how much I have been looking forward to our reunion if you do not feel it similarly. I do not care to pine for humans from afar. But if you care for me as I do you, then it makes me feel less alone. You hasten to assure the mermaid, your face aflame. Do you ever stop blushing? Goodness gracious, that you do care for her, very much so. You have not known her for very long, but she has certainly made an impression on you. She is such an easy conversationalist. The time simply slips by when you are together. And it does not hurt, of course, that she is so pretty. I've heard it, yes, that my looks are rather appealing. My old friend was similarly complimentary. I cannot blame you humans for being so taken with me. Why, when my form is so very graceful. Your legs seem rather cumbersome in comparison to my smooth, sleek tail. It must be so depressing to lumber about on land as you do, living your days beneath the harsh sun and cold, unfeeling moon. Sometimes I rather think I pity you. But the surface is a good deal brighter than beneath the ocean. I will grant you that much. You agree with the mermaid, still feeling flushed, that there are some perks to having legs, an agreement which makes the mermaid giggle. I'm sure that there are. Though you cannot explore the ocean's depths as I can, I presume you have never tried it? You shake your head no. You have never taken thought to do so, largely because you have never been so close to the sea before, not in all your life. You don't have much opportunity for natural exploration in the past. You're not allowed to go anywhere near then, save for the local church. It was quite a lonely experience. Well, now that is a pity. You're kind enough to give me a gift, fashioned from flowers which grow where I cannot reach them, so perhaps I ought to return the favor. The favor? Yes, that is right. It would only seem fitting that I give you something which I can only be found in the ocean's depths. Perhaps we could look at it as a form of cultural exchange. Oh no, you protest, your eyes wide. You cannot possibly put such a burden upon her. You do not give her a gift after all because you want to receive anything in return. Anything other than her friendship, that is. Our character is very down bad for this mermaid. Like, no shame at all. Her conversation more than enough to satisfy you. You don't feel any physical you don't need any physical presence on top of that. The mermaid did not seem convinced, however, but by your saying. She raises one eyebrow. Even this gesture is great, performed elegantly, then says, "If my company is all it takes to satisfy you, then you are easy to please indeed. But please, do not rebuff me. I'm offering because I wish to do this. Remember what I said. I do not say things for the sake of it." Well, you murmured, if she really doesn't mind. Of course I do not mind. Now wait here, I will not be very long. It'll be rude to abandon my new friend in the midst of a conversation. The mermaid turns her attention towards the clear mirror-like water, what shimmers beneath the moonlight. Then she dives. Her body arches elegantly through the air, her long, slender limbs cleaving through the surface of the water with a narrow ripple. The mermaid's face is first submerged, then her torso, and long last her tail. The water rushes forth to envelop her, as though it was been waiting for her. It subsumes her, it swallows her. Then she disappears from view. The mermaid's gone, but you are still here. Well, now what are you to do? There's nothing that can be done, you suppose, save waiting. You stand there for several moments, watching the black water lap against the shore. The breeze howls mournfully like a wounded animal as it buffets your hair and your face, and your torn skirt around your legs. Time elapses, but how much of it? Will you stand there fretfully, feeling as ostentatious as a maypole? When will the mermaid return? Will she ever return? You're starting to worry. Is that all you do? When? Look, over there by the rocks upon which the mermaid once sat. The water's rippling. Looks as though your new friend has returned. The mermaid pulls herself onto the rocks, using a surprising amount of upper body strength, then smiles at you. I apologize for the wait. I hope it did not make you worry. You were worrying, but you are not half so honest as a mermaid. Mermaids might be spoken as devious tricksters who lure sailors to their deaths, but they are in actuality very sincere. They are much more sincere than most humans. Perhaps that's why your kind fears them too, so. There are very few creatures who inhabit the world whose capacity for lying is greater than your own. You tell the mermaid that you are not worrying, and she will answer with a wry smile. I'm not so sure about that. The mermaid is wilder than you are giving her credit for. She has seen straight through you. But no matter, it took me some time, but I was finally able to retrieve you a gift. I do not have the means to turn it into a pretty piece of jewelry, but as you do with the flowers, but I wish to give you one nonetheless. I do hope that you like it. The mermaid leans forward and then holds out a gift towards holds her gift out towards you. Her slender fingers unfurl about it, and the petals of the flower begin to fold it back, and then... Oh, what a pretty gift this is. The ocean might be dark and deep and cold and feeling, but the same cannot be said for the object which glimmers upon the mermaid's home. She has fished from the depths of the water, a beautiful shell, one which shimmers prismatic colors beneath the moon's light, much like the scales on her tail. The shell is so very pretty, it takes your breath away. You look at the shell worriedly, your teeth biting your lower lip. That is a bad habit. That's a bad habit, you know. You'll make yourself bleed. And ask the mermaid if she really is alright. Will a gift like this not be wasted on you? The narrator is very mean to us. They're always giving us like snarky comments like that. Of course not. I want you to have this shell because it makes me think of you. It does? How so? I thought it should be obvious. The shell is obvious as a lovely find. As are you. Oh. Did she just call you lovely? Surely you must have misheard her. You can seriously believe it. It's an awful lot for you to take in, but... Now, why are you gawking at me like that? The wind will change, you know. And then your face will be stuck like that, which will be quite the shame. You'll waste your good looks, which for a maid such as yourself would be nothing short of a tragedy. Seems as though the mermaid really does think of you as pretty after all. The mermaid with her smooth skin and fair hair. You can scarcely believe it. There's something almost laughable about the mermaid's compliments. How could she call you so pretty when her looks are so immediately obviously superior? Tongue-tied, you look at your feet. You don't know how to reply to the mermaid. You have a half mind to refute her words, to tell her that you are not that pretty, not really, but you fear that might look rude. You don't want to rebuff the mermaid's wishes. There's nothing for it, then, but to take the shell which the mermaid retrieved by the ocean's depth for you. You don't think that you are worthy of it, but neither do you want to refuse it. Now that is a surprise, the mermaid says, amused as you reach for the shell. I did not think that you would be bold enough to take it, not without more coaxing on my part. You have exceeded my expectations. What a good girl you art. Oh, now she's calling us a good girl. Oh, man. Your heart flutters with this praise, and it flutters all the more when your trembling fingers brush against the mermaid's palm. She presses the shell into your skin, as your own fingers tighten around it. The shell is sharp but pointed, and digs uncomfortably into your skin. It hurts, but there's pleasure in the pain. This, too, feels like a gift from the mermaid. You don't want to spurn it. Hopefully it's not that one shellfish that's, like, extremely poisonous, but pretty sure those are only found around Australia waters. Even pain can be a precious thing when dealt with by someone whom you care for. You never knew that before. You hold the shell to your heart, which is beating in a regular rhythm. You look at the mermaid. Then, very softly, you thank her. It's quite alright. It seems only fair, after you share part of your world with me. Part of your world. I wish to share a part of my world with you, too. Humans cannot normally descend beneath the ocean's depths, and even if they do, they cannot remain there for very long. You are far too fragile. With that I would bring you with me to my underwater kingdom, where we might be together. The mermaid's melodic voice trails away, suffused with something resembling melancholia. She sighs. Then she shakes her head and smiles. But this will have to do for the present. Please, take good care of that shell. Look at it from time to time and think of me. That'll make me very happy indeed. The day passes. Days pass, following this nightly encounter with an aquatic acquaintance with your almost intolerable slowness. You endure the hours of sunlight and as best as you can, going for long, bracing walks amidst the heather, foraging for berries and fruits among the herbage. You even, when you have mustered up enough courage, take an old fishing line uncovered by the fisherman's cottage and try your luck out by the shore. Your initial attempts at angling are without success, but as time passes, your proficiency in the art grows. Sometime after you take up your rod, you find yourself able to catch the odd fish here and there. Small, scrawny things mostly, but the meat goes a long way in bolstering your rudimentary diet. You teach yourself how to remove the scales of these saltwater fish that you have captured and how to gut them. You learn, too, how to cook them over the fire. Sometimes you skewer these fish on your spikes and roast them slowly, innards and all. You're able to sustain yourself well enough, but during the day, the faint pangs of hunger you experience never quite go away. Your physical discomfort, however, is secondary when compared to your desire to visit the mermaid. Your days might be dull and drab, but your nights, comparatively, are made of magic. It's only during the night the mermaid emerges from beneath the waves, and when she does, you hurry to be by her side. If you had never before had anybody who took so great interest in you, not until you met the mermaid. That is why she has grown to mean very much to you. She is the first friend you've ever had. But if you not temper your obsession accordingly, I fear she may very well be your last. You care little for potential danger, however, which lurks beneath the interactions with the mermaid. You want to only show the mermaid how much you value her, and you hope within time that she'll come to value you too. If you keep seeing her, surely she'll stop thinking of her human friend whom she lost so suddenly. That is your plan, at least. Fortunately, your self-serving wish to grow close to the mermaid seems close to getting granted. Your nightly conversations when you greet her come easily enough, the words tumbling from your mouth like thread. You have grown rather comfortable in the mermaid's company, and she yours. She must have, for a very long time after you bequeathed your diadem of flowers to the mermaid, that she looks at you, then posits a curious question. I was wondering, dear one, if you would mind indulging me. I know this might not seem like an appealing proposition, but I thought it would be remiss of me not to ask. I've seen some of your world, for I've set on the shore for many, many nights hence, but you have seen nothing of mine. It seems unfair that I should know some of the world that you inhabit while you know so little of mine. So, would you care to come with me beneath the ocean's waves? There's much I wish to show with you, besides that I cannot. I fear I'd be greatly accurate represented in language alone. Words can be awfully stifling when it comes to communication of experiences such as this. It's quite the florid speech, but at the heart of it beats a simple enough request. The mermaid wishes to bring you beneath the ocean's surface, so that she might show you her home. You're flattered initially that the mermaid wishes to show you something so personal, but after this flutter of flattery, there comes an uncomfortable sense of unease. The mermaid might feel at home beneath the water's surface, but what of you? You are a human girl with two awkward and ungangly legs, and you were not made to live under the sea. You frown, and mistrustfully you look at the ocean. It is late at night, and as always, when you speak to the mermaid, and the water does not look blue. It appears instead to be obsidian. The waves moan as they break against the rocks, which jut out from the shore like mighty dragon bones. They sound angry, violent almost. Salty sea spray arcs through the air, caught in the moonlight, and shimmers sharp as knives. Hesitantly, take a step back. You're a little afraid of the sea. It's so restless, so deep, and also consuming. It reminds you of a hungry monster. You never submerged yourself beneath the ocean before. You never had the opportunity. You don't even know how to swim. You're fearful of your own safety, should you consent to dive beneath the undulating meniscus of the water, but... Do not look so frightened, dear one. I'll be with you, and I will not let you go. You have my word. Shyly, you glance at the mermaid. She is still perched upon her rock, her hands folded neatly upon her. Well, she does not have a lap, not really. You're still afraid, but the mermaid's reassurance does help. Has she not told you numerous times that she is nothing if not honest? You trust her not to break her word. She will not leave you to beneath the waves, abandoning you for a cruel, lonely fate to become the food of so many fish. Of that you are certain. That is why, despite all your misgivings, you find yourself nodding your head. Oh god, here we go. We just can't hold back, huh? Prego asked to show you her world, and she can't even swim. How long can you even hold your breath for? Oh, this little fool of a girl. If that is what she wants, then you will accompany her. You are interested too in what lies beneath the ocean's surface, out of sight. Oh, I knew you would agree. Thank you very much for humoring me. I will endeavor to make the next few moments the most memorable you have ever experienced. No. Now, would you care to come with me? I shall be your guide. The ocean nest might be dark, but I will not let you get away from me, I promise. The mermaid extends her hand towards you, a hand which seems to cut through the moonlight just like a blade. The moon's celestial rays play against her the mermaid's upturned palm so that it shimmers. The mermaid's hair, too, is glowing, backlit by Celine's glow, so that she almost looks like an angel. Her beauty is such that, for a few moments, you can't do anything, neither step towards her nor back away. You feel frozen in place, rooted into the sand like some shore-growing tree. You still don't understand why the mermaid has taken such an interest in you, but an old adage does not occur to you. You ought not to look a gift horse in the mouth, or ignore the pleas of a graceful, dignified mermaid. You reach your arm, shaking like the skinny bow of an ancient tree, and find the mermaid's hand with your own. The mermaid's finger curl about your own. Her nails, only now do you notice how sharp they are, digging into your skin. Though the mermaid herself looks very soft, her grip is surprisingly strong. You do not think, if she willed it, you'll be able to get away from her. But why would you want to? She'd not mean you any harm. No, let's be on their way. There's much to see in my underwater kingdom. I cannot wait to show it to you. The mermaid turns toward the ocean, as do you. For a brief moment passes, one during which you allow yourself to stand there, your hand claimed by the mermaids, as the wind buffets your hair and your skirts. You inhale deeply. The smell of the salt is heavy in the back of your nostrils, so much so you could choke on it. It's not a particularly pleasant smell, but you have grown accustomed to it after living in your tumbled-down cottage by the seashore. It is nostalgic, almost. You have a vague feeling as you stand on the precipice between your world and that of the aquatic companions, that you might never again be able to smell the salt in the air like this. That's just a silly suspicion, though. You're being foolish. The mermaid will return to you back to the surface in due course, will she not? You hope that she will. You, unlike her, cannot breathe in the water. You open your mouth, meaning to ask the mermaid about this fact, but you are afforded not the opportunity to speak. The mermaid has already shifted her fingers still twined around yours. She dives forward, her body slicing the surface of the water like a knife, and you, inexorably, are dragged along with her. Here we go. The water rushes to meet you in a sudden, shocking rush. The mermaid's descent might be graceful, but yours isn't anything but. You do not know how to position your legs, and your limbs feel awfully ungainly. The shock of the water as it touches your skin, meanwhile, is intense. You don't think that the water would be this cold. No, it's not just cold, it's freezing. It feels as though the warmth has been sapped out of your skin. If your head were not already beneath the ocean wave, you would gasp from it. You do not gasp, however. You cannot. You've already been submerged. Your body no longer feels as though it is your own. You hear us unspooling behind you, like the thread and your skirt is fluttering. Your body rocks to and fro, and as though being soothed in the mother's arms. It's a curious feeling, but it's not wholly unpleasant. If it were not so cold down here beneath the ocean's depths, you might find it relaxing. It's dark under the surface of the water, yes, but you have not ventured so very far, not yet at least. The glow of the moon cannot penetrate its depths. Your surroundings are illuminated, though faintly, and thanks to this precious illumination, you can see the schools of fish swimming about you. Their scales all glisten as they arc through the waves like rainbows. They do not look like life forms. They appear instead to your fairytale adult mind, to be ancient relics brought to life through some strange arcane sorcery. They are pretty. No, that word is not sufficient enough. They are beautiful. You do not know as you stood upon the shore how full of life it was beneath the water's surface. You do not know either how very beautiful these aquatic denizens of the deep were. You never seen fish like these before, not in real life. You have memories, vague, hazy memories, of dissecting a fish once in a particularly gruesome biology lesson. But that feels like a very long time ago now. You would far rather think on your present than dwell upon your past. But the seconds pass, and as they do, the mermaid continues to swim, leading you deeper and deeper into the ocean's depths. But once you are close enough to the surface that the moon's light could still slice through the waves, now so very dark you can scarcely see. Not to mention too, water pressure is also a thing. Going even just a few feet underwater, you start to have that pressure sort of set in your ears and whatnot, and that just starts to hurt, you know. Your vision is beginning to blur. You feel uncomfortable pressure weighing down your inert body. You have descended as you realize, with a ripple of anxiety too deep. Humans were not meant to descend into these depths. The water, once cold, now feels freezing. It caresses every inch of your exposed flesh, as if to sap what little warmth you might still possess. You shiver when you do. You swear that you can hear your teeth chattering, despite the water which stops your ears. The water stopping up your nostrils. There's so much water down here, at the bottom of the ocean. It's endless. The mermaid might be able to breathe in the water, but you're not so and very fortunate. Your body's far less sophisticated than hers, and requires oxygen which furnishes your body with continuous strength, not salt water. The thought of trying to inhale the endless water which surrounds you makes you shudder. You would rather not attempt it. You don't have the gills. When will the mermaid take you back to the surface? Surely you must know that you have fast begun to near your limit. You've been under the water for far too long, and it's so cool, too cold, and it's so dark now. In any event, you cannot see much of anything. The joy you once felt during the underwater adventures began to dissipate, just like that of the last of the oxygen you still possess. It's time to return to surface now. But how are you going to communicate with this to the mermaid? You cannot speak, and she is still not looking at you. She's staring instead fixedly on something beyond your comprehension, something far away, perhaps, in the water's gloom that you cannot see. Not knowing what else to do, you try to pull your arm free from the mermaid's grasp. You hope that this will signal her that she has grown too carried away in her endeavors, that she ought to cut short your expedition and return you to the shore. The mermaid does not react, however, to your attempt to escape her. Her grip does not slacken, and yet as you would hope from your wrist. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It feels as though she's gripping you more tightly than she was, as if to prevent your escape. But why would she do that? You tap your mermaid's shoulder to get her attention, and just which prompts her, at long last, to turn. Her fair hair billows about her, suspended in the water like a shroud. Then she says in a calm, measured, incredibly reasonable voice of hers, "Yes, dear one, what is it?" If you could, you will open your mouth to reply to her, but alas, you are a human girl, not a fish, and you cannot speak underwater. Any attempt to do so will accomplish naught but save filling your pretty little mouth with water. The mermaid really ought to have considered that before she started to ask questions. But your comfort seems to be the last thing on the mermaid's mind. She smiles at you gently, delicately, and says, "I understand. Being on water for so long must be beginning to take its toll. Do your lungs feel like iron? Are they heavy?" So she does understand your woes. You might not be able to speak, but you might not be able to speak, but she spends you in the... You might not be able to speak. She spends spend as you are in the dark, murky depths. But communication is not wholly impossible. You nod your head emphatically, hoping that this will be enough to make your distress apparent, but... Yes, that will happen. It's not a part. So I will have heard of drowning. Not that I have ever heard of it, had the opportunity to experience it for myself. I'm incapable, you see, of meeting my demise in such a manner. Now, what was that? What could she mean? The mermaid answers. She reminds that this was a calculated act upon my part. Forgive me, dear one, but the moment you consented to sink beneath the water with me, your fate was sealed. Your lungs will be flooded with water soon enough, and then you'll die. It's not a pretty way to go. You needn't worry about your corpse bloating, disfiguring, and being eaten by fish, though. I will take good care of it, I promise. In death, you look lovely, almost angelic. Is that not what you always wanted? You don't know what the mermaid thinks it is, exactly you want, but you think she is laboring under some severe misunderstandings. You'd like to try and correct her. You don't want to die, but of course you cannot open your mouth. What a pity. Well, at least she saves you the effort of transcribing your dying pleas. I doubt they would be particularly interesting. If you want to know why I'm doing this, then I would not mind obliging. I have no secrets to keep from you. Other than the secret perhaps that upon your first meeting, she nursed within her cold fish's heart the desire to bring about your watery murder. You might have liked to know that before you agreed to sink beneath the ocean's surface with her. I'm only doing this because I have no choice. The other girl I liked, after all, the one who I adorned, disappeared. She went away, and I was never again afforded the opportunity to see her. You reminded me of that girl, though you do not look much like her. You do not act very much alike either. But you're both humans who, despite your delicacies, had no shortage of determination. How your kind is able to live with your lifespans are so very short, and you are very susceptible to very many diseases. It is a mystery to me. Though my lifespan far eclipses your own, I am far sturdier. I cannot help but marvel at the tenacity of you humans. I know that if I were as fragile as you, I would not be able to exist in this world. I'd be far too afraid. I would see my own death lurking behind every corner. Just as you can see your own death looming before you. And that is not so very far away now. You feel it come closer and closer, enclosing its cold, icy fingers around your throat. You humans are incredible. I cannot help but respect you, weak and pitiful though you are. She respects your tenacity so very much she wishes to extinguish it. It does not make very much sense. Perhaps my words are confusing to you, but it makes perfect sense to me at least. My blood cowherd left me, and I do not know where she went or what happened to her. Perhaps she was murdered by her bandits. Perhaps she contracted a horrible disease. Perhaps she simply fell and cracked her skull. I do not know. I will never know. For many, many days and many, many nights, her disappearance tormented me. I cannot help but wonder if it came about, but there are so many possibilities I cannot imagine all of them. Though this thought terrified me. It still does. That is why I'm going to take you to my underwater kingdom with me. There we can be together forever. Nothing will be able to tear us apart then. I'll brush your hair and I'll dress you in the finest pearls around you from the bottom of the seabed. It'll be lovely, much, much lovelier than any sort of miserable existence you might be able to eke out above the water. in my citadel, you will never be attacked by bandits, nor ravaged by diseases. You will be quite safe, I promise. Quite safe, yes, and quite dead, too, surely. Well, yes, that is the only unfortunate aspect of my plan. She considers your death nothing more than a mere misfortune? The mermaid might be surprisingly cold after all. But perhaps you ought to have predicted this. She is part fish. Are fish not cold-blooded like lizards? You probably learnt this at some point during biology class, but your lessons are beginning to feel very faint and far away now. Your body's beginning to fail you. You cannot take much more of this. It is a necessary sacrifice, still. If we were to be happy, I'm doing this. If we were to be happy, I'm doing this for you, for both our sakes. I do apologize for tricking you, but please, try to understand. I really have been lonely. You'll be more inclined to sympathize with her, perhaps, if her loneliness was ushering in your inevitable demise. You are too preoccupied with your dwindling reserves of oxygen to feel much of anything for your captor. You feel the pressure of the water against your eyes. They're beginning to ache. Perhaps you're crying, you do not know. Water masks much of your anguish. You've been drifting underwater for almost 3 minutes. It was a remarkably long time to go without any air. Your vision began to cloud. Your surroundings, already dark, look darker still, unpleasant and obscure, and not at all like the paradise the mermaid promised you. The pain of being suffocated slowly is far stronger and far more oppressive than the thought cessation of the mermaid's hand wound tightly around your arm. Is there no escape for you? The prognosis, I'm sorry to say, is grim. Your fate, as the mermaid said, really was sealed the moment you met her, luxuriating on those rocks beneath the moonlight. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and surrender in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Ah. Oh, actual choice. But I can't. Ah. Nah. I mean, I doubt we're gonna get out of this even if we fight, so... But... Heck, I'm gonna try. Ah, I like the look on your face. It is a look of determination. The self-same determination which first prompted me to take an interest in you. I can tell that you are not happy with this ending. You not come all this way after all to drown. That's quite an incredulous and indecorous demise regardless of how many fine stones and shells that means to twine through your hair after your death. If you wish to carve out a new story for yourself, then I'd only be too happy to indulge you. Try not to get on the bad side, or good side of any homicidal naiads this time. Drawing on the fair maiden is something of a cliche. Your fate is once again in your hands. Now, I wonder, which path will you take? Oh, we're back. Alright. I figured it'll just be, we'll try to fight back, and then she'd still just pull us down anyway, and we die, and that'll be it, but... whoever this narrator is, they actually brought us back. Alright then. Let's go to the village now. I'm gonna take a bit of a breather though first. I gotta... That was a lot of reading. I gotta say I do like this though. The writing is very, very good and I like it a lot. It's got a good atmosphere to it, it's got a good music to it, very atmospheric. Yeah, pardon me. Gotta check something real quick. Alright, there we go. I'll clear that up. Cool. Alright, now, to the village we go. So you want to go to the village. Good idea. Let's see what further trials await you there. The night is far from over, as much as you wish it might was, and there's so much more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. Follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready to, at a moment's notice, to snap at the knee beneath your burden or weight. Soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope, as you continually run, that you'll find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. You don't know what will await you at the village, but you have visions as you run of a quaint scenic settlement, all thatched cottages of sloping roofs. Sure, there'll be a kindly peasant who'll be willing to put up with you a runaway for a few nights. You can imagine, too, the face of a kindly peasant from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. She'll be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced, with brown hair and crammed beneath the cap. Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she'll be kind to you and compassionate, just like a mother. You do not know what mothers are like. You hardly ever spoke to yours. You're only guessing. You're not a complete fool, however, despite your tenacity to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Peasants do not, as you know, from any of your voracious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It might be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. So you run to the village. Take some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you manage it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? Honestly, if we're seemingly traveling through time now, if we've actually been brought back, then yeah, time really doesn't have a lot of meaning anymore at this point. The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It's still cold, though, and still foggy. It's still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon clearly now, though as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl, and any orb, or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestled along the hill like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You finally made it. Surely not but your salvation awaits you. You follow the winding dirt path of the village, looking this way and that. But your hope, such a precious, fragile thing, soon begins to fade. The village, up close, does not look half as welcoming as you imagined. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. The kitchens beyond them are even darker, the night sky which surrounds you. There are no lights in any of the windows, and neither can you see any people, insomniacs like you, at them. You cannot hear anything either, beyond the sound of your own footsteps and the low, mournful sighings of the wind. The village is quite quiet, eerily so. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. You know before you try to your luck at one of those houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly red-armed washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you wish for it. But it does not stop you from wishing well regardless. Your knuckles rub smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. There's nobody here to hear your entreaties. How very sad. You try another door, then another, but the result is the same regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There's nobody here. Once again, you have found yourself all alone. At least you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody's here, you might as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you're looking for. You would far rather have a companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well-practiced motion, and then inhale. You square your shoulders, and you keep on going. Surely this village can't be completely deserted. There's but one person here, at the very least, who can help you. That is what you are thinking as you resume your search. You flit from cottage to cottage with precious little to show for your determination, until you make it to yet another discovery. The village, which was squat thatched cottages bathed in the moon's glow, has a church. Well, of course that's a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their faith did them all that much good in the end, it seems. Still, the sight of a church soothes your overtaxed heart. You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman that taking you in, you did not pause to entertain your fancy of a kindly nun doing such much same. All hope was not lost. You approach the church, which seems to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it is stout and sturdy, It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever. Forever standing sentinel. Forever standing sentinel on this hill, like a relic from a bygone era. The church does not have any stained glass windows, does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified solemnity. The stone building is fringed by a sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop, and some of the sloping insides. The graves which have been planted by the generations of wardens are hewn from a similar stone to that which the church walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lozenges, while others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, and though these are few and far between, there are very few people in a village such as this one who can afford such luxurious final resting places. You look at the tombstones with an almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran through the forest. You're out of the woods now, and you have subconsciously already begun to relax. You try to read the names hewn on the myriad of tombstones, but it's dark and you're too tired. Some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh well, such superfluous details are not important. You eventually tire of examining the graves in turn. This graveyard is an expansive one, unusually so, given the village itself is so small. How can it boast so many corpses, and there's so much to explore? You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here and then there, then everywhere, consumed as you are by your immense, all-encompassing curiosity. And as you do, you see her. Hello. Are you any nicer than the last one? She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her, hiding all the while in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard clinging against a rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. There's no sunlight here, though. There's only the night sky and the stars and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, a silvery implement of the girl clutching simmers. It takes you a few moments to see what the girl's clutching in her hands. It's not until you see her manipulate it and the sharp edge is biting into the earth that you understand. It's a shovel. The girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard, late at night, and she is digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging it for a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems to be too precise for this, to be a result of a mere whimsy. It's hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the end of her shovel into the earth over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There's something hypnotic almost about in the manner in which she attends to task. Should you risk interrupting her, do you dare? You get the feeling that she will not appreciate it. The shovel in her hand, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Upon how you strikes your skin, makes your skin prickle. You don't know if you should risk speaking to her when she, in her dark cloak and her shovel, looks so very strange. What do you have left to lose? You have come this far. It'd be folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach the girl. Your footsteps are quiet. You've grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quite enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned because she blinks. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do, you feel your breath catching your mouth or throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she's looking at you. You can tell that she is pretty. Her skin is very smooth, and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are clear, cool blue, like ice. Those eyes of hers, which are large and unease, are fringed with very long, fair eyelashes. She looks as though she's stepped out of the page of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Yeah, we said the same thing to a mermaid. Aren't you very easy, huh? Perhaps she's some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she's none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands is solid enough. It's pointed to glittering wickedly in the moonlight. You steel yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst. But the tension soon drains from the girl's shoulders, slender shoulders. Her fingers, which were once gripping the handle of the shovel, tightly relax. Her lips curve upwards at the edges. She's smiling, and what a smile it is. It's transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic almost. Hers is like a smile that's so suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You're so relieved you almost feel as if you could cry. It would not be the first time you have wept during the night, and neither would it have been too surprising if you did. You've been through a lot. You must be exhausted. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this, because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then she says in a rough voice, it was not to match her dainty appearance, but she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting? Oh, so to see another person. I was so afraid I was the only person left alive. The only one in the whole world. I don't know what kind of accent I'm going for, but here we go. Now that is quite the foolish greeting. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. She's rather personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-bred Lugnani, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It's your turn now, to be on your guard. Actually, you observe the girl with the shovel, and you ask her what she means. What happened? Oh, did you not know? There's an awful lot you do not know, such, in fact, it could fill a whole encyclopedia. No, a whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts, I guess. I guess I should have known. This village is a small one, and everyone knows everybody else. The girl's expression falls. At least they used to, back when they were still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague. There was a plague. That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked in, was so quiet. Did everybody else just come to the mysterious illness? That's right. It's just me here now. I've not seen another human for being a long time. It's so lonely here. There's that name again. Now this is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You don't have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step toward you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gotten rusty after being on my own for so long. My apologies, miss. You look like you've come a long way. You said you're a traveler, yes? And your hands are very cold, just like ice. Would you like to come inside? Maybe we could have something warm to eat and to drink. My home's small, and I'm afraid my food ain't nothing but fancy. But I'm more than willing to share. It's not every day when a girl steps by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed. The girl laughs, a carefree and airy sort of laugh, which did not match your initial impression of her. You thought when you saw her among the graves that she would be more distant, somehow, and more mysterious. Perhaps you're mixing her up with somebody else. You're still unsure if you can trust this girl, but her invitation is an appealing one. It's much more appealing certainly than spending the night outdoors in the cold and keeping out the graves. What are you, a romantic poet? Please, you make a show of pardon this girl's invitation at the very least. You don't want to seem appear too eager, but your acquiescence is, alas, an inevitability. Why would you ever refuse her? She's the first friendly face you've seen all night. Without her, you'd be all alone. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located by a stone throw away from the church, built in the shadow of a twisted, towering sycamore. The girl's home is in such a state that it seems folly to even call it a home. Hovel would to you be more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes alive, and she says, "Here we are, home sweet home." You don't have hard to tell that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Half-heartedly, you look around the newfound surroundings. The ceiling is supported by a wooden joist, and it's perilously low. Not so much that you're in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There's a fire in the corner, though it's not considered a grate to a grate. The fire instead is blazing in the open, a circle of logs set alight, like a scene from a witch's kitchen. Above the fire hangs a silver pot suspended from above one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves. Iron implements iron implements you take to be cooking utensils, various herbs and strips of meat left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp, sour scent of unwashed bodies. How, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? You do not see a bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one? The girl's home is unremarkable in every angle, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. At least there's a roof over your head and food to put in your belly. The girl looks at the pot suspended over the fire, which she gives a servant with a ladle. Then she brings the ladle to her lips, to taste whatever concoction she has been brewing within it. You'll hope that she's not like the weird sisters from that famous play, brewing a broth with fenny snake fillets. Yes, I think this is just about done, the girl says to nobody in particular. She sets the ladle down, back into her pot, and then looks at you and smiles. So you want something? Looks like they've been cool quite a long way, and you must be hungry. Those words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of God's most loyal angels. You're so hungry you could eat a horse. I'm sorry, Uma. Not that there are any horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest in your hostess, who smiles in response. I thought you liked the sound of that. Just give me a few moments. Your hostess retrieves two earthenware bowls from the cupboard and with rickety hinges, into which she pours 2 hefty helpings of whatever it is she's cooking. This she serves with bread, which is so hefty it could be used as a murder weapon. It's not much, I'm afraid, but it's only soup and bread. It should take the edge off your appetite, though. You thank your hostess for hospitality, your stomach rumbling with all the while. Soup doesn't look like anything you would typically consume, but soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. It's true enough that the people that eat first with their eyes, but when one is hungry enough, one becomes obliged enough to eat almost anything. Why else do you think that people, when stranded upon desert islands, will resort to cannibalism? Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourself up in pretensions, but in actuality, you are not much better than animals. You're so hungry, your stomach is achingly empty, they suddenly descend upon your food like an animal. Your teeth glint, your incisors gleam, and soon you have consumed all that your hostess have offered you. Hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles while you have finished. Did you enjoy that? You cut your hostess' gaze, suddenly abashed. You were so hungry you failed to account for her judgment. Now you have food in your belly, though, and you have been suitably warmed, and your old self-conscience is returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap fearfully all the while, of what your hostess might think of you. You don't want her to take against you. Fortunately for you, however, and for your fragile ego, your hostess is not of the judgmental sort. She's not like the girls you grew up with. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. I know I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for so long while I used to cook for my father all the time, you see. There's some what catches your attention. Quizzically, you look at the hostess, your abashment over your animalistic eating habits suspended. What happened to your father? Seems a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but... Didn't your hostess mention something about a plague? Yes, your hostess says with her voice soft, now and serious. That's right, there's a plague. What of the villagers? What of her father? They're all gone now. Gone? Yes, you see... Your hostess rearranges herself upon her chair, one slight leg folded over the other. Then she begins her tale in earnest. My family has a history. We lived here for centuries by the church, so we can tend to the graveyard. Ah, so this abode is centuries old then. I'll certainly explain the dirt. My father used to prepare bodies for burials, back when he was alive, but he's built the coffins and he dug graves, and he lowered the coffins into the dirt. I know it might sound like an awful job, but somebody's gotta do it. There's no sense in averting our eyes from death, not when it happens to the best of us. It's a noble profession, one that's been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a gravedigger, and so was my father's father's father, and my father's 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 father's. Digging graves is in our blood. It's who we are. My. It was a surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside, a girl who is without much in the way of education. It is apparent just to listen to her, and the way she slurs her syllables together, that she has never had any I don't know that word. Elocution lessons, not like you. There's a determination, however, to her, and a pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. You can't help but be impressed. So you ask your hostess, does that make her some one-in-line gravediggers? Yes, your hostess, the gravedigger, says. That's about right, though I was never supposed to be a gravedigger myself. It's not a woman's profession, that's not what everybody says. My father didn't mind that, though. He taught me everything he knew, and then some. I might be a woman, but I have plenty of upper body strength, and I can dig a grave just as well as my father could, without breaking a sweat. To spare my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she was still alive, she'd rather I focus more on feminine pursuits like basket weaving and sewing to attract a better suitor. Not that that'll do much good now. There's nobody around who'd quote me, not for miles and miles. You know what happened to her mother? She died when I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old. Oh, well, you can relate to her, at least upon this point. So she had a sibling then? Because she said when she was 5, not when during childbirth when she was 5, so she must have had a sibling too. Your parents aren't dead, at least not as far as you're aware. You've not seen them in an awfully long time. They sent you away as soon as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. For many years, there have been no letters, nor any visits. You offer the gravedigger your condolences. You don't know if they will help, but you feel that you cannot say nothing. That will seem heartless. The gravedigger, however, did not seem too upset by this turn of events, because he smiles, albeit somberly. It's alright, it was ages ago. I don't remember it too well, and I never really had the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do. Around the house, you mean? Aye, that too. I was the oldest child, so it was my job. After my mother died, to manage the sweeping and the cooking. Oh, and looking after all my siblings too. You blink, intrigued, and glance about the hostess' humble lodgings. You don't see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? Gravedigger must have noticed your roving eyes. Not exactly subtle, but she shakes her head. I had siblings, 2 younger brothers. They're both gone now. Oh, you should have known. You apologize to the Gravedigger for your lack of tact, but she does not seem upset by the foul pass. Don't apologize. It's not your fault. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest, he died when he was only still a babe, and the oldest, he died before he reached double digits. I was upset at the time, of course, but I've come to terms with it. Life's a fleeting thing in the wicked world of our old world. That's something you learn in this trade. Digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and for the infirm, but I've dug graves for young babes still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of death. It comes for all of us in the end. No matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or how bad we've been. So you got to live your life and leave the dying for the dead. It's a great equalizer. Or so I've heard. A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to the hostess' speech. She's not wrong, but the inherent mortality of humankind is not something you wish to contemplate. It's too disturbing. For the longest of times, my family was a small one. It was just my father and me, but that was fine. It was how I liked it. I was very happy, even if our lives weren't the best. I've never had any fancy clothes to wear. We can't dine in our finest of foods. But in the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything that special. But I've always felt otherwise. I thought I was blessed. We knew hardship, of course, and famine. But that's just the way life's around here. That's the way it is life around here. When food supplies were low, we always helped one another out. I had my father, but I also had the rest of our village. We all looked after one another, and things always worked out in the end. At least they did. Until the plague happened. Yes, she had mentioned plague multiple times. You had been worrying when she was going to return to that topic. I suppose that the plague is the reason the village is, as you traversed it, was so very empty. I suppose right. The plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago. Maybe it wasn't all that long after all. I feel like I've been only been on my own for over a century, for centuries, but your hostess' eyes begin to cloud over. She looks as though she's entrenched within her own memories. What else could she be remembering? You've never seen a plague before, though you've heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor was quite enthusiastic about the subject. She talked about piles of dead bodies stacked up on the streets and stacked up with wooden carts. Come to take them away, with no shortage of aplomb. She's a strange woman, your history professor. The plague came to our very suddenly. There was no warning. One day everyone was fine, and the next, they're all dead. There's no small amount of anxiety that you eyed the gravedigger. Then you ask worriedly, surely they cannot all have died. Is that not an exaggeration? Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but it's truth. Honest to God. The people in this village died, one after the other, just like that. I saw what the plague does to people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies which came through that was buried must have had it. Not that I knew for certain. I'm just guessing, still. My father died. Didn't have an easy time of it. His skin turned all grey and clammy, and he complained of a horrible fever. There was some night sweats and stomach cramps. And then there were boils. Boils. Pustules. They were the size of eggs, and they were full of pus. When they burst, they stunk. The whole house was full of it. The stink of death. The wise woman in the village came to see if she could be of any use. There was no good. My father was far too gone already. She took one look at him, lying on his deathbed, and shook her head. She said didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. It was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time, though. I felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her ill. I remember that, after she left. Until a few days passed, and she fell sick, too. Then I felt bad for cursing her. Couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. It's silly, but I know, but still. But how did you survive? How are you okay as the only survivor? Did you just have a natural immunity to the plague? The gravedigger closes her eyes. She seems to squeeze her lids together, so she lasts until her lashes melt like flecks of fallen snow. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as though she might at any moment fall apart. It wasn't long after that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father. Clammy skin, the fever, and the boils. The boils grew and burst, and then they died in screaming and stinking agony. My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill. But I think even that was the 3 days too many. I didn't want my father to die, of course. I did everything I could to help him, but it was all pointless. None of my herbal salves had any impact. I couldn't make a blind bit of difference. All I did was stand by his bedside, telling him to be alright, until his eyes sank in his skull like 2 black stones, and his mouth dried out. During that last day, before he died, he must have been a corpse already. He didn't look at me. He didn't speak to me. He just lay in bed with his eyes closed, groaning. I never wished any ill on my father before, but during those moments, Granger squeezed her hands, which were resting upon her black-clad lap into fist. She trembles. Then, in a voice throbbing with emotion, she says, "I wish he just died." Well, considering the circumstances, that's obviously not a horrible thing to wish for. If a family member or friend is just suffering from an incurable disease that is bringing them just pain and suffering from staying alive, of course you would want them to get better, but if all it's laying ahead is more death and suffering, then it might just be better to wish them a calmer, quicker death. I suppose that's a bit of a touchy subject, and that could be spoken about either way. Well, based on her anecdote, it does not sound like she was overly long to wait. I wonder if she would consider that a silver lining. No, perhaps not. Gravedigger's still shaking. She won't cry, will she? You hope not. Awkwardly, you look at the gravedigger. I try to soothe her, but you know, it must take some sort of effort, even if it's a token run. Shift upon your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say very softly that you're sorry. It's not much, but it's all I can think of saying. You thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravedigger, but now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. Not that suffering is a competition, of course. The project feels inadequate to your ears, largely because it is. The gravedigger seems not to mind it. She's very big-hearted, that girl. Smile at you so, no matter how foolish you might be. Do you really deserve such kindness? Oh, again with the apologies. It's alright, like I said, he didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you, I'm recounting what happened is all. I do wonder though, why I never felt sick myself. I thought I was gonna die, so I already prepared myself for the Reaper to come and take me away. But maybe he wasn't interested. Maybe he'd already been satisfied his appetite on the others. That's or maybe thought he had to leave me alive for the practicality's sake. With my father gone, who else would tend to the dead? I was the only one person left by the end of it all, so I had to bear the people in the village. They're all resting peacefully now, under the earth, where the plague can't reach them. On the other hand, I'm happy for them. They're able to escape from all the suffering. When I think about all the people I've lost, though, the gravedigger tenses. Then she sniffs. When I think back on the kindly washwoman who helped me scrub the mud off the dirt from my clothes. Aha, so I did have a fair share of washerwomen, after all. It would seem your earlier instances upon the particular point was not without merit. And the handsome young farmhand who used to flirt with me. The priest who preached at the church, who had told us wonderful tales of paradise, and the children who would skip stones in the lake and play hopscotch on the streets. I can't feel so lonely. Gravedigger's eyes begin to shine. Once she's finished her address with tears, she does not look them full. She's being very brave, much more so than you are. Anxiously, you extend her hand towards her, meaning to... what? Give her a hug? You don't know her well enough. Pat her head? That'd be infantilizing. Squeeze her hand? Perhaps that could be misconstrued as a romantic overturn, and that would be the last thing you want. You deserve more than your fair share of teasing over that. You sit there for a few moments, paralyzed by indecision, as a gravedigger poorly suppresses her sniffles. In the end, you let your arm drop back to your side. Your hands rest on your lap, and as useful as the damp kindling. You don't know what to do with it. You do know you ought to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do know what this something should be, however. You do not know. No words could ever console the gravedigger. That would never be enough. They can offer some balm, however, to the bereaved. And so, after a pause just long enough to be awkward, you offer your condolences. What else can you say? Oh no, the gravedigger replies, wiping a straight tear away from her arm. It's alright. I've gotten used to it, really. Being on my own, I mean, it ain't so bad, really. And I'm not alone now, at least. I met you. You'll keep me company, won't you? Well, what can you say to that? You aren't callous enough to trample the poor girl's hopes, are you? You know full well yourself how awful that feels. You can do nothing but nod, a response which makes the girl smile more widely. Still, that's wonderful. I know you were just travelers passing through, but I can offer you some more bread and board until you leave. I have food enough in a spare bedroom. I can make it up to you right now. You must be tired after your long journey. Just give me a moment. It's not possibly your father's old room, is it? Because it looked like the germs are still there, you know? Just a thought. No offense. Gravedigger rises from her feet in a flurry of excitement, then retreats. You watch as she departs, a little too eager to please and frown. Girl's home is a small, humble one with its low ceiling and slanted walls. Can't imagine such a small dwelling possessing a spare bedroom. This so-called spare bedroom is in all likelihood the room her father slept in before the plague carried him off. You don't think that you would much like to spend the night in the room of a dead man, but what choice do you have? You're tired, wretchedly so. Why is it all you can do is that's all you can do is keep your eyes open? While you're running through the forest, desperate to escape your pursuer, you have thought in your mind beyond finding some safe sanctuary in which you could recuperate. Now that you have found sanctuary, it would be unreasonable to find fault with it. You ought to learn to be more thankful for what you have. There are many people in this world with less. You rise and follow the gravedigger once she finishes her preparation to the so-called spare bedroom, which is every bit as cramped as you feared it would be. At least there's a bed, which comes as something of a relief. The rest of these lodgings are so humble, you were half expecting a straw mat pallet. As tired as you might be, you can't lie to yourself. You don't desire to sleep among the hay like an animal. Sheets of the bed are clean, too. In fact, you discern with a cursory glance. So, you would not be expected to sleep on the sweat-soaked linen of a plague-ridden man after all. This really is your lucky day. But really, how well could they really clean it from, like, I don't know, like scrubbing it in a bin of water, you know? Just a thought, no offense. Again. I'll go to this too, Gravedigger says somewhat shyly, as she hands you a folded gown. Sleeping. And I thought it might come in handy. Your clothes are, a little shabby. She can't say that again. She can say that again. Her skirt's covered in mud, and the hem is torn and ragged. It's not gone to one of my old ones, so it's stuffed with a bit of wear and tear, but I hope it'll feel alright. It's clean if nothing else. You set the nightgown for your benefactress, with words of thanks. You don't sound appropriately appreciative, but you cannot mask your fatigue. Weariness overcomes you, and you yawn. In fact, the gravedigger does not fail to notice. Oh, begging your pardon, I don't want to keep you. I'll be making myself scarce. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be happy to help. Gravedigger gets out, bows her head to you like a drudge, then hurries off, closing the door behind her with a thud. Tired though you are, you soon find that you rather miss your hostess's company. In the face of the good-natured smiles, you almost forgot all the hardships you had hitherto endured. In her absence, however, your lodgings feel almost unbearably cold and inhospitable. You suppress a shudder, then unclothe yourself. You work as quickly as you are, able to... But your fingertips are cold, and they fumble with the buttons of the blouse. It takes you more time than you would like to complete this endeavor, but you soon have your shirt and skirts dispensed with. You're too tired to fold them neatly, so you do not bother to fold them at all. Instead, you cast them carelessly upon the floor, as fine as a sulky child, then pull on your new nightgown. Hostess's earlier warnings were apt enough. It is quite worn, but it fits well enough. But it's comfortable at least than your old uniform. You have endured worse. Newly dressed and ready for bed, loosen your hair from your braids and settle down amongst the sheets. As if the sigh you extinguish your weekly flickering candlelight, which burns on your bedside, and with a nurse sigh that you lay your head down upon your pillow. Though physically ashamed, you have to wonder whether you will be able to sleep at all. You can recall your previous dash through the forest in such vivid detail that your heart is still pounding. You fear that you have yet to leave you. Perhaps it will never leave you. Your terror was such, it almost feels like as though it will suffuse itself into your bones, into your very being. But your exhaustion is greater than your worldly anxieties, and soon it claims you. Your eyelids fall shut, and your breathing inevitably begins to even out. It's not long until you're spiraling into the dark, deep abyss, lost in Morpheus' kingdom. But your sleep, despite your worried state, is not a restorative one as he hoped. Your imagination has all been overactive. Even at the conservatoire, you're frequently beset by dreams of the most vivid nature. The dreams you have this night, lying beneath the unfamiliar sheets, upon an unfamiliar bed, are no less intense than usual. And your dreams are back at the conservatoire, the place where this adventure of yours began. You're weaving the crisp white blouse you once discarded, and your gray, unremarkable skirt. Your hair is tied into braids, and your eyes are downturned, forever focused upon your feet. You try not to look at your classmates, and you thought yourself fortunate that they were not looking at you in return. No anyone had noticed you. Until the awful winter, that is, where everybody stopped paying attention to you for good. Nobody tried to trip you when you walked past them in the hallways. Nobody, in fact, so much as glanced at you. All of a sudden, there was no malicious whispers, no wicked laughter, no pulled hair, and no thrown objects. You were giddy with relief at first over this newfound means of tormenting you that your classmates had devised. This little game, that of complete and utter disregard, continued on, and the days grew shorter and the nights grew longer. As time passed, you began to fret at your state of your own corporeality. Could anybody still see you? Did you even exist at all? Then at long last, you found it, quite by accident, the source of all your woes. One of the girls had erected in the forest through which you were sometimes bidden to jog for PE class beneath the shade of the cast by an old oak tree. It was a makeshift tombstone, a small, meager monument made of stone upon which one of your classmates had honed a name. Your name. You knew at once as they stood there, standing beneath the shade of the ancient tree, that this was the reason behind your classmates' silence. This was why they had for many months been ignoring you so audaciously. They had buried you. In their hearts, you had already died. You know, thinking about it, we had that dream of our past where we got pushed into the fountain, and we got dragged under the water by the mermaid and almost drowned, so... And we have a gravedigger here, and we have a dream of us getting buried alive. Kinda making it... Not very... It's kind of... You can pretty much see where it's going at this point. No, man. But how are we gonna get there, huh? Your eerie dreams notwithstanding, you sleep more comfortably than you had anticipated. When you wake the following morning, the sweet chirping of birdsong, you feel very well rested, albeit woozy. Your head is aching. Is nothing, however, that a cup of hot tea cannot fix. You stumble into the kitchen in your nightclothes, your hair loose and your feet bare, and your gravedigger turns to you. She looks at your face, which is pasty, and your under eyes, and your under eyes, which are dark, and exclaims that in a manner one accustomed to solving problems, not complaining about them. Oh, you look awful. I think you need some warm to drink. Maybe you need something to eat too. Let me get started on breakfast. And that is exactly what she does. She gets started on breakfast, which proves to be quite the simple affair. Nothing like the luxurious food you're accustomed to in your past life. Bread is hard enough to break your teeth on, and cheese is a bit too strong. It is food all the same, though, and you do not complain. Your stomach is beginning to grumble. The tea is inoffensive, at least, and you drink it gratefully. You thank the gravedigger girl for her hospitality, and she smiles at you in return, a sunny smile like a field blossoming with bellflowers. It's no problem. Don't hesitate to ask me if you need anything else, she says, words which come to symbolize your relationships. You stay with the Gravedigger for many, many more days, and limited though her means might be, she always tries to help you. The Gravedigger sets you chores about the house to keep you occupied, a fact for which you are grateful. You need to do something to keep your mind off the frantic flight through the forest. You can almost forget about it now during the day. During night, however, it returns to you, standing your feet against the foliage in the swirling fog. When you sleep, you're assailed by nightmares. Sometimes you wake after midnight, sheets twisted around your body and your mouth gaping open in a paroxysm of terror. Though you tried to tell yourself otherwise, you're still afraid. Being with the Gravedigger makes you feel less so, though, particularly when you are sweeping the floor and keeping an eye on the bread lobes so they don't burn. You tend to most of the domestic chores, though the Gravedigger concerns herself with the work she knows at best, that is, digging graves. Her dogged persistence when it comes to the pursuit intrigues you, so much so that you can't help but possess a question to her one particular morning, when the sky is festooned with the clouds. Why, you ask her, perhaps a bit touched insensitively, do you continue to dig graves? There's nobody left, after all, to dig them for. You have always been practical that you can't see the point in it. What's the point in it, huh? Gravedigger ponders while holding her precious shovel to her chest. Fortunately, she's not seen upset by questions, despite its bluntness. You should not count her lucky to her temperament is so very placid. I don't suppose there's anything point in it, really. The Gravedigger eventually says with a small smile, no, it doesn't have any particular purpose, but, well, digging graves is what my father did. He showed me how to do it, so I could seal his legacy. My father wanted to keep our family tradition going, and I suppose I wanted to do the same. That's all there's to it, really. That's all, is it? You think you understand that? Though your companion's actions might appear to be illogical, there is a kernel of reason nestled amongst them. She does not dig graves out of a sense of purpose. She does it instead out of sentiment. Besides, I have something to do to keep myself busy, don't I? If I spent my days idling on my own, I think I'd go mad. Gravedigger laughed at this, as though the prospect of her own madness is amusing. Her laugh, despite her sudden stature, is not particularly delicate. It reminds you, perhaps, unkindly of the braying of a horse. You're trained to think of such a thing, though. Your face flushes with the guilt of it. We cannot all be well-bred young ladies, you know. Still, the laughter of the Gravedigger, as it echoes through the gray, gloomy sky, is strangely desperate. Sounds forced. Your smile, too, is a touch unnatural. The rictus grin of a corpse. You find, despite your attempts to return her laughter with a polite giggle, that you cannot help but pity her. You retreat indoors briefly after your talk with the Gravedigger, and set about your simple chores. The Gravedigger trusts you well enough to manage sweeping the floor. Tasks do not take particularly long, and the preparing of meals tasks would take slightly longer. It's not until much later, however, when the sun has already sunk beneath the horizon, and the moon is high in the sky, the Gravedigger returns from the outdoors. She's winced up from many hours spent exposed to the elements, and there's dirt caked beneath her fingernails. Gravedigger removes her cloak, which she hangs on by the door, then looks to pull a pot to bend over the fire which you soak with your own fair hands. Scent of cooking food, that of garlic and onions, fills the air, suffusing the interior of the kitchen with a honey aroma, which makes your stomach tremble. Taking the stock of it all, the Gravedigger smiles at you, a toothy smile which, despite her status as a lowly peasant, is smiling clean, bright, and white. Thank you so much, dear one. There's nothing like a return home after a hard day's work to find dinner already prepared. Now let me give it a taste. Gravedigger dips her spoon into the soup, then brings it to her lips. She blows upon it, and then places the spoon in her mouth, the wooden utensil clacking against her teeth. You observe this with a touch of anxiety. Will she like the food which you prepares for her? You have cooked for her before, in the past, and she always very complimentary of your efforts. Cooking is not your forte, however. You never had to concern yourself with it, really, growing up in the relatively comfort as you did. You think that you enjoy this rural rustic mode of existence more than you did your privileges of your past life. At least now with the Gravedigger, you have a steadfast friend, a staunch ally. When you are with her, you're not alone. That's worth its weight in gold. Gravedigger explains after drawing the spoon from her lips. A smile, a bright, guileless one. It's delicious. Hello, welcome on in, Raiders, welcome on in, my name is, I hope you're all having a very happy Halloween here. I want to thank you all very much for having on in. I'm playing a little game here, a little visual novel I found the other night. something spooky and fun to play for Halloween. Hope you had a fun stream yourself, whatever you're doing. Hope you had a good time. Oh, yes, but hello, I hope you had a good stream, and thank you very much for raiding here. I hope you're having a good Halloween here. I'm having some fun with this game here. It's been pretty fun and interesting. Very nice, very well written, I'd say. But yeah, I hope we've been having some good time with it. And I hope that, and if you need to like get some rest yourself, like get some food, water, rest, or whatever, then by all means, please do so. But thank you for very much for the raid. And I hope that you have a wonderful time. Whether you oh, you're also playing the game too. Oh, cool. Yeah, I really just found this game like last night. I was like looking desperately like last night because Halloween just like sort of snuck on me. Like this month went by so fast that I was like not all prepared for something Halloween related to do. So I figured I was browsing and I just happened to find this one. And it's been proving to be very good so far. This is my second route so far. I've already gone through the mermaid route for reference. That's where I currently am. But yeah, it's been proven to be very fun, a very interesting story. I like it a lot. Yeah. The gravedigger exclaims after drawing a spoon from her lips. Her smile, a bright, guileless one. It's delicious. Your face flushes at the compliment. You're unaccustomed to receiving them, and it makes you feel good. Shyly, you ask the gravedigger if she truly means that, a query which makes you the gravedigger smile. Of course I mean it. You've become good at cooking, really. That is a relief. You're not very good at all this cooking malarkey in the beginning. You don't know how to handle a knife, nor how to peel a vegetable, and you cut yourself more than once. You bled into the soup on several occasions, but never once did you throw the silly soup out. Gravedigger lives in a humble existence, and she can't afford to waste her precious ingredients. Your soups during your stay have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of iron. Today's soup, however, is marked above all the rest. You did not cut yourself with a knife even once. The way they described it makes me a little worried. Maybe to bring that out so much. Maybe your companion's compliments are not empty fluff. Maybe you really are improving. This should be ready to serve. I have some bread too that we can eat it with. I should bring some tea too. Let me. Oh yes, the tea. You knew that you were forgetting something. You're so focused on the soup, it almost have slipped your mind. Your face flushes yet again, at this oversight, and shyly you offer to correct it. Gravedigger, however, waves your request aside. No, it's alright. You made the dinner sub with the tea. It's only fair, and it won't take all that long. Would you mind serving up the soup while I'm busy? Of course you would not mind. You do enjoy making yourself useful. For a lady, you are awfully domestic. You work alongside the gravedigger to finish your nightly meal, and together you serve it. Soup and bread, alongside 2 cups of piping hot tea, prepared by your hostess's own 2 hands. It would be nice if we weren't in the middle of a plague-stricken town that's all dead, with no one but us living and surviving here. But yeah, I really am enjoying this story. It's very, very interesting and fun. You sit together at the table, you then partake in the simple fare, after saying grace. The soup really is quite good, despite it being made from only the most commonplace ingredients. There's a bit of a kick to it, and it warms you from inside out. The tea, meanwhile, is very soothing, so much so it makes you feel rather sleepy. You'd like to sit with the gravedigger for a little while longer and tell stories as you have sometimes in the past, that or play cards. The nights are long, and there's no better way to pass them than spending time with her. Games that will made, alas, will have to wait. You're too tired for it. You don't know what has happened, but after consuming your victuals, you feel utterly fatigued. Oh no. Do we get drugged? You explain your predicament to the gravedigger between your yawns, and she nods in response. That's alright, you don't need to stay up with me, not if you ain't up to it. You should head up to bed and stress that pretty head of yours. You don't think you're particularly pretty, but you presume that the gravedigger is just regurgitating the phrase to you. She's not truly mean it. How could she? She's far prettier than you are. You thank the gravedigger in free understanding and then rise from the table. You retreat to the spare bedroom on trembling legs and change out of your clothes. You only just slid into your nightgown when you hear the rapping of knuckles on your door, light and unobtrusive. The rapping could, of course, belong to but one person. It's the gravedigger, come check on you. I'm sorry, the gravedigger says, her voice soft, but you're to your room so soon after eating, I couldn't help but worry about you. Would you mind if I took a look at you? I don't see if you're alright. The gravedigger is trying to keep her voice steady, but you can hear it wavering regardless. Is she worried that we're falling sick too? Oh, thank you for the follow, Memory, Moonlight. That's very nice of you. Thank you. She really does sound like concerned, so much so that she could very well be on the brink of tears. You don't want her to cry for you. You're feeling horribly guilty if you'd upset her, even inadvertently, given all that she's done for you. You bid the gravedigger entry into your room, therefore, without further delay, an invitation she hastens to take. The door swings inwards with a creak, and there your hostess stands, so attired in black, her clothes in stark contrast to your pure white, well, off-white nightgown. Gravedigger looks at you, seated in bed with your hair freed from its usual braids and exhales. Is that a relief, you wonder, playing about her face? But why? What was she expecting to see, exactly before entering your bedchamber? Thank you for letting me in, the gravedigger says, toying with her fingers. How do you feel? Not too terrible, you assure her. There are no particular problems with your health, you just feel tired. Are you sure you're not sick? Your face does look a bit pale. That'll be nothing short of the norm, you are always pale. True. Now, is there anything I can do for you? Would you like something warm to drink, or maybe bring hot brick to your place you in bed? It should keep you warm. You appreciate your hostess's thoughtfulness, but you assure that won't be necessary. Your favorite path, you say? I gotta say, it's definitely a comforting path. But I do know that I did like look at the screenshots of the last one, so I know that the last one is supposedly gonna be like a princess in a castle. I'm very interested to see where that one goes. I do enjoy that aesthetic a lot. But she is very nice here, this little gravedigger girl, who we not shared our name with yet. But yeah, I love the music. I love the music too in this game. It's very, very nice and a very nice melody. He'll be fine. I do hope so. I thought that my father would too, before the gravedigger begins, but her voice soon trails off. Oh yeah, I totally understand. You gotta rest after your raid, and by all means, have a good rest. Thank you very much for the raid. Thank you very much for reading. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, and wonderful Halloween night, wherever you may be doing. And thank you again for the raid. I hope you have a good one. Thank you again. She did not finish that thought. She did not need to. You know now what she was thinking of before she entered your bedroom. Cold, clammy skin, a sweating brow, rank, oozing pustules. Think upon these symptoms, which are eerily similar to those recounted during your Great Plague, which once beset your own country, and you shudder. If you don't want anything, then I'll be on my way, the gravedigger says. But before what? It's such a fancy on my part, but I was wondering, would you mind if I brushed your hair for a little while? Your hair? Oh, that's right, it's such a pretty shade of red, is all. I just thought, well, it's just fancy, really. You don't have to let me, and not if you don't want to, but I thought it might help you relax if you're feeling under the weather. I suppose it's supposed to be soothing. That's what the gravedigger says, but you have to distinct feeling that she is the one looking for solace here. Wasn't that cute? She wants to brush your hair. She's not quite so selfless, perhaps, and she would like you think. But she has been so very good to you and has done so very much for you that you don't want to begrudge her with this small self-indulgence. You rather think she deserves it. You agree, therefore, to her request, and upon doing so, you're certain that you might have made the right choice. Your hostess' face lights up immediately in a manner which makes you blush. Oh, thank you. It's been my honor. Now let me fetch you my brush. The gravedigger retreats from the room in a hurry, but returns soon after, holding in her right hand the promised brush. The artifact is acquired, and the gravedigger then settles herself upon your bed, by your side. She looks at your hair for a few moments, and her expression is pensive. Then she announces that she'll begin. Gravedigger leans in. The wooden frame of the bed creaks under her weight, a creak which melts with the sighing of the breeze outdoors. You can feel the bristles of the brush running through your hair. It's soothing enough, just so much so it makes you want to shiver. The sensation is a pleasant one, and somewhat nostalgic. Did your mother do this for you, you wonder, when you were a little girl? If she did, it must have been when you were a very little girl. You've not seen your mother in quite some time, not after you enrolled in the conservatoire. Oh, you have such lovely hair, dear one. It's soft, just like silk, not at all like mine. Mine is so coarse. The gentle voice draws you out of your vague, half-formed reminiscences. Sounds of the little gravedigger's lost in nostalgia of her own, because her voice, when she speaks next, is dreamy. I think my mother used to brush my hair like this, for me, back when she was still alive. It must have been a long time ago, though. It's funny, you think, as the bristles of the brush continue to slide through your tresses, that you and the gravedigger should both be reminiscing in tandem about your respective mothers. Perhaps there is something maternal in the act of brushing one's hair, which is wont to summoning forth such images. I would not know personally. I cannot remember my own mother at all. I don't think I like having my hair brushed very much. The gravedigger continues, her breath warm against your exposed nape of your neck. My mother used to complain that I squirmed too much. I can remember that. She always told me to sit still, though it wasn't my fault. I squirmed. She used too much force. Now that is curious. Sounds as though the reminiscences of the gravedigger are not particularly fond after all. Did she not get along well with her mother? I can't rightly say, the gravedigger replies in a somber tone, sort of voice. I was young, like I said, when she died. I don't remember her too well. But I don't think she ever had that much time for me. She was too busy with all the cooking and cleaning. Oh, and looking after my baby brothers. But she had time enough despite that, to brush her hair. She did what she felt like she had to make me look presentable. Not that it really worked. I wasn't like the other girls in the village, you see, who liked to sit indoors with their mothers, and so I always loved the outdoors. My father said I inherited that from him. Ruefully, the gravedigger smiled. Not that you can see it with your own back facing her. My mother said I wasn't very, well, maidenly. She didn't like that I always traced around outside after my father, watching as he dug graves. She said it wasn't appropriate, like I was some sort of princess wearing a fine dress. The gravedigger snorts. I used to get a bit muddy, yes, and maybe I did get burrs in my clothes and knots in my hair, but it shouldn't have mattered. It's not like I ever had any hopes of marrying a prince, no matter what Mother said. But still, she had a lot of hopes for my mother. My mother. High hopes. I think she might have resented my father, maybe, for working such a menial job. A profession is an honest one, but it's never made much money. I think my mother was hoping for fine jewels and dresses, but... oh, I don't know. She always had her ideas. Her head was full of fairy tales. It was a shame, I suppose, that her reality didn't match up with what she wanted. I didn't match up to what she wanted. The bitterness in your friend's voice is unmistakable, so much so you want to console her. What would you say to her, though? Ah, poor girl. You never met your companion's mother. You never will, either. Her cold inner body has been lying in the graveyard, buried beneath the tombstone for over a decade. You have no way of ascertaining whether your companion's mother has truly cared for her. You do have intelligence enough, however, to understand that poorly thought out condolences can cause more harm than good. You would not like it if people tried to reassure you that of course your father loved you, really. If he loved you, then why did he send you away from home? Why did he never send you any letters? You know he was worried about his finances, but that seems a poor excuse to pretend that his only daughter did not exist. As for your mother, meanwhile, she was nice, at least you think she was, but she was woefully ineffectual. Though she was nominally an adult, she always cleaved before your father's judgment. You think she was afraid of him. You don't try to tell the gravedigger, but therefore that her mother loved her, that she must have done, else she would have never given her birth to her. Instead, you sit there, and letting the brush run through your hair, and you say quietly that you understand. Sometimes you feel like a disappointment yourself. Yeah, I certainly felt that before, myself. Well, the gravedigger says after a pause, I'm glad I'm not the only one who, I guess it happens to all of us. You guess so. Parents are only people, after all. While one would hope one's parents were kind and attentive, they too can fall victim to caprices of their own. Just because one has been brought in a child into this world does not mean one will be able to take care of it properly. Not all parents are responsible, just as not all people are responsible. It's a painful subject. Oh well, it's alright if my mother never liked me, and even if she never loved me, I knew my father did, and that's all that matters. He was always there for me, no matter what. Your companion's voice catches in your throat. She winces. At least, until he wasn't. He died, and I didn't do anything to help him. Your companion's shoulders are beginning to shake. You still can't see her, but you can feel her body convulsing. You can sense her loneliness rolling off her own waves. It's all-consuming, like the waters of a deep, dark ocean. Grief anew pierces your heart, not on your behalf, but for the sake of your benefactress. She not deserves to suffer so much. This you have no qualms with telling her. You turn to face her and pluck the brush which has been hovering in the air, inert from her fingers. Then you let her know that her father's death was not her fault. What else could she have done? She could not have cured his illness. I know, but I can't help but think, what if? I kept racking my head over and over, trying to come up with something. But I can't think of anything. Now, even if I could, it's too late. He's already dead. He's dead and buried. I buried him. And now I'm all alone. She might have been alone, you tell the gravedigger, but she isn't now, not anymore. How can she be when you're there? I know, and I'm grateful, and I don't know if I deserved it. Well, I should not deserve your company. You don't understand. Because I couldn't do nothing for nobody. My father always looked out for me, and I was a little girl, but when he needed me the most, I failed him. I failed everyone. All the villagers, all my friends, all died. What would I do if this same thing happened to you? I don't know if I could bear it. I don't want you getting sick too. Not when I could care about you so much. I thought I got used to being on my own, but now that you're here, it's making me worry all over again. I've been worrying so much I can't even sleep from it. I'm scared. Your companion's voice catches in her throat. Then she collapses in on herself. She leans forward, her arms wrapped around her middle, as if to steady herself, and she cries. She cries and cries and she cries. For a few moments, she looked at the gravedigger, unsure what to do. This is where it's okay to hug her, and kill her's gonna be okay. Come on, the heroine. Her pale face, streaked with silver tears, seemed to flicker in the candlelight. Her shoulders, which seemed too slender to bear the accumulated weight of all her sorrows have endured, are shaking. Your fatigue continues to cling to you, as insistent as the fog which rolls amongst the tombstone in the graveyard at night. You're not so very tired, however, you cannot offer your hostess some comfort. You don't know what you can say to her to console her. You feel too weary to think of pretty sophisms. But there is something you can think of. You not typically be so bold, of course, but you are tired enough, for once, to throw caution to the wind. That and the tears of the gravedigger are awfully arresting. Be a good Samaritan. Man. That's precious. You open your arms, and before the gravedigger can comment, you press her to your chest. Ugh. A soft exclamation escapes the lips of the gravedigger, quieter than the sound of wintry snow as it brushes the ground. Then, there's nothing. The girl stiff in your arms for a few moments like the corpse she and her father used to steal away inside the wooden coffins. She's all wide-eyed and awake, awkward, pointed elbows, tears still coursing down her pale cheeks. That's so nice. You worry briefly as you hold her that you have perhaps made a mistake. Were your attempts to console her too clumsy? You would not know. You've never been in a situation like this before. You never consoled any friends before, because you never had any friends to console. And it's not so now, however. You're as far away from your old life as it's possible to be, and the gravedigger does not curse you for your impudence. Neither does she try to squirm away from you. Instead, she sits there, still as a statue, cradled in your arms. Oh, I'm very sorry to show you something so embarrassing. It's just I get so lonely sometimes. Until at long last, with a breathy sob, she lets out the full weight of her body fall against yours. You run your hands against your sobbing companion's shoulders, shoulder blades, in her back, and gently you soothe her. You tell her that she doesn't need to apologize. There's no shame in crying. You hug her for so many minutes while she sobs against your wet chest, wetting the front of your nightgown. No further words pass between you that night, but they do not need to. Words are irrelevant in the moment as tender as this, shared between two souls who have come to understand one another through mutual loneliness. You sigh beneath your sheets. You still feel exhausted, and the gravedigger joins you without asking for permission. It would be an unnecessary piece of politeness, really, given your acceptance is all but assured. You've already accepted the gravedigger, after all, every single inch of her. You have accepted her hospitality. You've accepted her food. Now you're accepting her company. You range up beneath the sheets, and then draw her body to yours. Good has not yet changed into her nightwear. Her clothes will be horribly rumpled when she wakes up come the following morning, her head resting against your chest. But tomorrow has ceased to matter. It no longer exists. There's no constant time between the two of you, no thought of the day which will dawn on this night inelly ends. Instead, there's only the warmth shared between you, and the wetness of the cheeks of the gravedigger. There's a sound, regularly now, and less intense than before, but the companions are muted and muffled sobs. There's this gentle, tender moment snatched in the midst of a deep, dark night, which can never be replaced. Your eyelids feel heavy, as though weighted down with stones. They droop inexorably downwards, pulling you like a drowning maiden into the dark, impenetrable abyss of slumber. You yawn, then you fall asleep, cozied up beside the gravedigger like two cats in a basket. You sleep, and you sleep, and you sleep, more deeply than you have allowed yourself in quite some time. Oh no. Where are we? But when you wake up, you find you're no longer in the bed upon which you slept in, shrouded by sheets. Oh gosh, the background is just breathing, it's just breathing in my ears. The gravedigger too is nowhere to be seen. Instead, you're quite alone, lying by yourself in the dark. You blink, but your surroundings are not becoming clearer. Is it the middle of the night? Perhaps you're aroused from your slumber by a desire to relieve yourself, or else slake your thirst. Your sleep has been awfully disordered as of late, and yet the smallest of noises have been enough to disturb you. That doesn't sound quite right, though. You slept well, of that you are certain. Your body feels invigorated, as though you were slumber for hours and hours. How many hours, though? You don't know. You don't know much of anything. You can feel a strange pinching sensation around your chest, however, and around your arms. It appears as though somebody, but who else could have been but the gravedigger, changed your tire while you're sleeping. That's a starting thought, but the darkness which entombs you is even more so. Darkness that surrounds you is unsteadily complete. It's so thick you cannot penetrate it. Your newfound woes do not stop, however, and this deep, unnatural darkness is cold too, and you're lying upon something hard, some sort of stone slab. What's going on? You reach out, but your movements are soon stimmed. There's something heavy lying atop you, something that is limiting your movements. You're anxious before, and upon waking, with discovery, you feel downright aggrieved. A sharp prong of panic pierces you, but you try to suppress it. Hysterics will get you nowhere. In most cases, they only tend to make bad situations even worse. You ought to know that already. You swallow your mounting dread as best you can, though it is as coming on as thick and fast as in trying to squirm. You move your arms outwards, but you do not get very far. There's a wall above you, and the walls on either side of you. Walls do not budge, no matter how hard you push. No, I'm not. I must add that you can push particularly hard. You're anxious in state notwithstanding. You've never had much in the way of upper body strength, nor lower body strength. You don't have much in the way of strength at all. You feel quite helpless as you lie there, out of breath from your meager exertions, unsure what you should do. You can hardly see a foot in front of your face. You don't know where you are, nor why the terrible premonition is beginning to bear down upon you, one which initially you tried to discard. You don't want to accept it as a possibility, but where else could the truth lie? You're lying in a box, hemmed in by walls which offer only a scant few inches width for you to stretch you in any direction. Where else could it be but a coffin? The moment you allow yourself to ponder this awful reality, and the moment you hear it, you hear it, the regular sound of drumming. As though somebody, though they must be very large, somebody tapping their fingers upon the lid of your coffin. That is raining. It's not some of the fingers of it's not the fingers of a giantess, though, which is disturbing you, nor is it the falling rain. It's dirt. The sound continues on and on, as though it's drilling its way inside your skull. It's relentless. It's merciless. Like a ticking of a great celestial clock, it cannot be stopped. Your time is almost running out. But you knew that already, didn't you, when you were running through the forest? You ought to have known, that silly thing, that you could not outpace your destiny forever. Sooner or later, it'll catch up with you. You're stubborn, though, and you don't want to accept this. Not to completely lie there, to cry out. Not content to lie there, you cry out. You cry out not for your parents, whom you already hardly knew, nor for your school friends for you never had any. Instead, you cry out for your new companion, the girl with whom you have been living with, and with whom you share a precious moment. You cry out for the gravedigger. Sure, this is some manner of mistake. Once you realize that you are in fact entombed in one of the coffins she's currently filling, for who else could she be moving the dirt above you? She'll cease her operations at once. She'll pull you out of the darkness, back into the world of the living, and she'll hold you close. She'll embrace you. She cannot mean to cause you any harm, not when she is so good to you, so kind. Why would she bury you? You cry to her so loud you feel your vocal cords might tear, all while banging on the roof of the compact prison. You cry desperately and helplessly, and to your relief, your cries do not fall upon deaf ears. The sound of the phone slowly stops, albeit briefly. Then you hear a voice. The voice is very faint, given it being filtered through the coffin's sturdy lid, but you recognize it. So you're awake then, are ya, dear one? The gravedigger says. She sighs. Then she says in a perplexed sort of voice, Now that's pickle. I was hoping that you'd be asleep a couple more hours, so the last time we could have spoken would have been on better terms. If you keep screaming like that, I'm gonna feel bad. Your parents' words, though distant, aren't unmistakable. You're so tense, you're unattuned to every single symbol, and each of them makes you gasp. Was that a mistake then? Does she truly mean to bury you alive? You persist this question to the gravedigger, and as best you can, trying to keep your tremors in your voice as you do. Perhaps you think in your optimism that they do not let you know how afraid you are. She will reward you with your bravery and let you go. If this is what you're hoping, though, it is in vain. That's right, you really do catch on quick. So it will appear that she really has committed the task of burying you. What an unfortunate turn of events. Why, though, would she do such a thing? You thought she was your friend. We are friends, your gravedigger says, her voice still worryingly offhand, worryingly empty. I'm very fond of you. There's nobody dearer to me than you. I've had a really good time with you these last, how long it's been again? I don't remember. Neither do you. Well, this is a little detail that slipped both your minds. It can't be all that important. You have other things to worry about. If you really are friends, then you have to say the gravedigger, then what does she hope to gain by burying you? You don't understand. But you understand her plight even less. Well, here's the thing, the gravedigger says, in a reasonable sort of voice, as though she's burying somebody alive, as though burying someone alive could ever be thought of as a real action. I've been doing graves for so long, see. You cannot see, it's too dark, but you affirm that you do all the same. Well, I was digging all these graves, but I've not had anywhere to put them in. Not for ages. It was rather sad. You think you know where this train of logic is twisted? You think you know where the train of logic, twisted as though it is, might be going. So don't interrupt her. You know no good will come of it. All you can do for present is lie there and listen. I was thinking, I'd never found a person to bury in this godforsaken village. Not that the plague messed everything up. I was getting desperate. Until you came along, that is. Not that I have now that I have something I can bury, I'm not gonna let the opportunity pass me by. I'm sorry, but this is just part of my job. It's what my father taught me to do. It's all I know how to do. I buried my brother and I buried my father. I buried all my friends. Now I'm gonna bury you too. It's sound logic in a sense, but as a daughter of a gravedigger, digging graves is her job. But something rankles you. If you only put your finger on it. Ah, yes. There's a bit of a flaw in the reasoning, is there not? You're not dead. You're not dead after all. You might not be dead now, the gravedigger says in response to your ingenuity, but you will be if given enough time. I mean, everybody else I've known is dying. Who say you won't be the next? Seems they're more likely you'll die and quickly if she persists with her poorly thought plan to bury you. Your cover is not very large and affords precious little space. Eventually, if trapped within it for so long, you'll run out of oxygen and you'll suffocate. That you'll starve to death. Either your demise will be a slow and painful one. You're not sure which death will be worse, though given how precarious the situation is, you don't wish to expend the necessary energy to need to ponder it. You need to plead with the gravedigger and quickly, while she's still here. You tell her tearfully that you would not leave her. Why would you? You try to sound more convincing as your distorted nerves will allow, but the gravedigger remains unmoved. You say that, she says, but how can I know you're telling the truth? I thought you said you were a traveler. They never say put in one place for long. You get sick for long, then you leave me. This way, at least I can be assured you will always be together. If I bury you like I did the others, we'll never be apart. I took care of you in a nice spot close to my home, so you're only a stone's throw away, really. Isn't that nice? Probably you think that the gravediggers has a different conception of the word nice than you. You don't say this, however. You can't say much of anything right now. Anything because of the panic that has begun to set in. You scream. You beg and plead, but it does little good. The gravedigger has already buried her mother. She's already buried her little brothers. She's even buried her father, who she loved above else. She thinks by burying you, she's doing unto you an act of great kindness. You think she's going to kill you. In a sense, you're both right. Your opinions are so diametrically opposed on this matter, however, that you'll never be able to find common ground. You might as well save her screaming. She'll not listen to you. She's beyond listening. Shush, shush, dear one, says the gravedigger very gently, just as gently as she did last night. Spoke last night, but she confided you in all her fears. It won't be so bad, really. No, nothing will be able to hurt you down there. It'll be just like going to sleep for a really, really long time. You can rest, and while you rest, I'll tend to you. I'll put flowers on your grave, and you like that, wouldn't you? That's the way we'd always be together. And I'll never be lonely again. While the great deer speaks, she begins piling even more soil onto the roof of your coffin. The sound of dirt on top of you, on your arms, your legs, and your head, conceals your companion's final words. You cannot hear her. You cannot hear anything beyond the sounds of the dirt, and the scraping of the shovel, and your own desperate, frantic screams. You scream and you scream, and you scream without a cease, until your throat feels hoarse, and your efforts are in vain. You hammer on the lid of the coffin with as much strength as you can muster, but the lid of the coffin is nailed shut. You're in no position to remove it. All you can do is lie there, screaming and crying and banging your fists on the roof of the coffin over and over as more dirt and debris falls on top of you. Eventually, even enough dirt falls on you to stifle your screams for good. Greater can no longer hear you scream, and you can no longer hear her. You're all alone, trapped in a narrow wooden box which, regardless of what you want, is now your new home. You can smell the soil in the back of your nostrils when you inhale. Breathing is back. It's so potent that you can taste it on your tongue. You can taste the eventual inevitable decay of your own body. You remain trapped here underground forever and ever, or to lose your less dramatic terms, until the last your enemy escapes you, and you succumb to your own slow suffocation. It isn't a very pleasant way to go. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did, after all, bring this upon yourself, didn't you? You reap what you sow. In your case, you made a series of bad decisions that led to your ultimate untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you escape this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Here we are again. Again, we'll fight. Are you not happy with the hand that fate has dealt you? Very well, I can't blame you. It's quite the grim ending. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy, and you're rather dearer to me than that. Now, why don't we give this another go? Try to be buried alive this time. I can only endure so much of your screaming. Who is our narrator? Is our narrator our original pursuer? That's all I can assume at this point. It'll make the most sense, at least. Now I wonder, which path will you take? The only path we can go. To the castle.